Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pullze Check podcast, man. Guys, look, I'm going to say this before we even begin. This was not planned. This was not on the agenda today. We planned a podcast at 4 p.m. to go over, Aiden leaving the game and a couple other things. And, we didn't think it was going to be that long of a podcast. And then almost on the dot at like 3:45, 3:50, Call of Duty released a insane article going over all the changes that are coming in season 2 and just things that they've been working on, which quite surprising. This might be, at least J God can correct me if I'm wrong, but to me, from what I recall, we've been asking for community, like some communication here. And this is, I was actually mind blown at how much communication is in this. So I haven't read it. I don't even know what's in it. Someone's chat saying this is insane, and then someone's chat saying don't get too excited. So I haven't read anything. Boys, did you guys knew this was coming type shit?
No idea. Such a random.
I mean, we've only been talking about it for months to say, hey, it wouldn't be so bad if you just had like some transparency, some communication, instead of just posting the newest bundle in the store every day. What the fuck?
Right. And like, bro, again, we've said it in so many other podcasts. Like, if they just talk to us, like, give us some anything, bro. Like, it goes a long fucking way. And so this, I mean, might as well get into it, fellas. But brother, I don't know. Real quick before we get into it, guys, I saw some of the YouTube comments. Some people got TikTok brain rot, bro. Bro, they said that we banned Hunter. Somebody made up this fucking thing because he didn't like the game and we didn't like him on the podcast. Bro, we just have different guests every week. To be fair, Hunter was supposed to be on the podcast today, but he got real busy. Guys, Hunter's not going nowhere. I love Hunter on the pod. So just want to throw it out there for all my TikTok brain rot YouTube comments. Hunter's the GOAT, bro. All right.
All the conspiracies, they just started flying.
They just,
really? Wasn't he on the last one though?
Yeah, but it's because we had Hunter, and then the next week we had Lucky. So there you go. Oh, he kicked Hunter off the podcast because he brought in Lucky. I was like, bro, calm down.
Well, no, it's supposed to cycle through. It's like, like in the beginning, we used to have Joe and Iceman, and it cycled through different people all the time. And somehow eBay stuck around. I'm just like,
somehow we're here.
Oh man! All right. So I feel like I needed to say that, but let's get into it, man. JD, go ahead, bro. Guys, this is a pretty long article from what I literally just scrolled, and I don't know. I don't really know what it's going to cover. So let's go over from the top, right? It says Call of Duty updates just tweeted this out, and it said Call of Duty Black Ops 6 / Warzone community update as of January 2025. And boys, feel free to stop me whenever. I think we're all reading this for the first time, so we'll do this together, right?
I skimmed it right before when it dropped. Okay. But yeah, basically they have the bullet points that we'll see, and then that'll be kind of like the order of whatever it is.
All right, so it says, ahead of Season 2, updates on Ricochet, Anti-Cheat, Warzone, Multiplayer, and Zombies. As you guys know, we're probably going to only cover Ricochet, Anti-Cheat, and Warzone here. Multiplayer and Zombies, we don't really cover as much. But if there is some things that kind of bleed into Warzone and the Anti-Cheat, we'll go over that as well. But without further ado, let's get into it. Boys, stop me whenever if you guys want to talk about anything, all right? I'm just going to go ahead and read it. Ahead of Season 2's launch in Black Ops 6 and Call of Duty Warzone on January 28th, we're here to address the comprehensive feedback we've been hearing from our community in recent weeks and tell you what we're doing right now to improve the game. I'm not gonna lie, I never thought I'd read that. Okay, awesome. I mean, dude, guys, don't look. Let's just real quick. Can we all just admit, and everybody in the chat, that it feels like we're in like a manipulative relationship to where when we see things like this, we kind of like take a step back and we're like, is this real? You know what I'm saying? At least that's how I feel. Maybe I'm in the minority here, but like, I feel like, seeing them say this and make a whole long article about what's going on. I haven't read it. I don't know what's going on. J God, what's the analogy you just said?
This is just the menu. They still got to cook, right? Like,
yeah, there you
we've
go.
had it before where I'll give you an example of even recently. For example, the one I brought up last pod or whatever, where I said there was a bug. They said, oh, you know what? We fixed this bug. And then the update rolls out. And then a surprise, bug not fixed. And it's happened multiple times. Most recently with the zombies, with the little vermin. it does a double hit, right? It's supposed to only hit you once. They said, psych, it'll be in season 2. Our bad. So it's like, the reality is for the past like 3 or 4 months, they haven't really established or built that trust back up. People lost trust for these blogs and posts because they've said a lot, but not a lot of stuff has been done to follow through. And the things that they did follow through, cool, but it doesn't matter. Like if you tell like 9 truths and a lie, the lie is like a big deal, right? Yeah. I think like what they need to do is just step 1. Now we know kind of like an idea as we go through. We'll see like what they're saying they're going to do. And then and
what they actually do.
2 drops, what actually happens, right? And it's not just season through, like obviously, oh cool, they told 9 truths. Well, maybe they're still going to tell a lie. I think it'll take a while for people to develop that trust again. And season 3, they'll have to continue and deliver. And then maybe people will actually go, you know what? Maybe I can believe what they're going to say. But that's like 4 months out, right? Like they got to continue doing the work, right? And we'll see kind of what happens.
Adding on to what J God said, it's like whatever we're about to read again, none of us know what this entails yet. Whatever they tell us, just manage your expectations because what we actually get has always been different, like from history, right? Like, bro, they said they did mantling speeds 2 weeks ago. You couldn't even notice they increased mantling or made them faster, right? Like, so take everything with a grain of salt. We're gonna go over it. I hope this is like them finally realizing, yo, we actually gotta make a fucking move here. So let's continue.
I will say too, some of the changes from skimming it, it's like they just took the common sense approach and said, all right, well, we're just going to do it this way because it makes sense. Like, let's not overthink it. Let's just do it. And you'll see when we get to it.
All right, let's go. All right, so members from the various development teams and studios dedicated to specific systems, modes, and functions across the Call of Duty franchise have provided insights below into how we're prioritizing what matters to our players today. So, cheatings and bans, ability to disable crossplay on console and rank play, server issues, quality of life updates, requested bug fixes, and then let's get right into it, right? So, first and foremost, we're going to go over the Ricochet anti-cheat, which, yeah, let's see. Instances of cheating in Call of Duty, particularly in rank play across both multiplayer and Warzone, are frustrating and severely impact the experience for our community. We're here to tell you what's being done about it today and our plan for support throughout 2025. I'll say this, if you play ranked consistently, this right here is, like I play ranked a lot, right? Like this is my biggest gripe with the game at the moment, obviously because it's what affects me the most. Yesterday, I will say, boys, was the worst hacking spree probably I've ever had in the history of Warzone ever. Like, again, mate, that's subjective and it changes for everybody. But for me yesterday, it was incredibly bad. Every death that we had was not even from, oh, this guy might be hacking, might be walling. Blatant hackers, you know, iron sight snipers locking onto heads from across the map. It was horrendous. So let's see what they're doing. Updated detection models for behavioral systems such as aimbotting and other data points, including account trust and hardware identifiers to target serial cheaters. I get a little scared about account trust and hardware identifiers just because a lot of people are getting shadow banned and shit. I don't know if that has anything to do with that at all, but okay. Over 136,000 rank play account bans since the mode launched. Okay. Enhancing cross-examination tools focus on reducing the time it takes to action accounts. That right there needs to be big, right? Like they got to catch these guys before they fucking hit to crim. You know what I'm saying? Like we're running into crim hackers.
Did you see?
Part of that's a little bit because we don't have the actual information. I think part of that's a little bit interesting because, like, let's say somebody is a crim player and their account gets hacked. Well, someone's cheating for the first time on that crim account. Well, they didn't get to crim by cheating.
Well, so you're saying you think that they didn't get
I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like, if they, in fact, started from bronze, went through the progression all the way to crim while hacking, yeah, that's obviously fucked up, right? Like, that's bad. Right. Their system should be way better than that. It should take, like, 1 to 3 matches maybe, or even before they get into a match to identify these cheats. But what I'm saying is that, like, there are instances where people get their accounts hacked that has actually legitimately grinded and got to Crim, and then now the cheater's playing on it for the first time.
I see what you mean.
Like, I would still say that it should take 1 to 3 matches realistically to get caught. Obviously, if they're blatant more so, and then them get banned maybe even before they load in. But just the fact that someone's a Crim doesn't necessarily mean the account cheated to get to Crim, if that makes sense.
I see what you mean. Yeah, no, I see what you mean.
So it could be like the Ricochet could be that bad, but realistically, I don't know. I'm just like, it's more of a devil's advocate. Like, it could potentially be that. Still a problem, but it's not them legitimately cheating for 12 hours to get to Crim.
I have a feeling that probably what's going on is people are getting shadow banned, and then they're probably just waiting out that shadow ban duration and getting unshadow banned, even though they're cheating. Because I saw Colt Havoc was playing on an alt, and his like main account, he's never been banned ever, obviously, because he's, you know, probably just protected. And he got to silver, and he got shadow banned on his alt. And so what's probably happening is, like, if these guys are cheating, they're probably just getting shadow banned and not permanently banned.
Probably some, depending on the cheats.
I thought Havoc has been getting shadow banned like crazy.
On his main, I don't think he's
on
ever
his
been
alt.
shadow banned.
On his alt.
On his alt, he just got shadow banned. And he was like, and he got to silver. And by the time he got to silver, he got shadow
banned. Which makes sense to a certain extent, because obviously
he's probably getting spam reported like crazy.
He's probably getting spam reported. They know who he is. And there's other factors. It's not just the system detecting him or whatever.
For sure.
He's getting reports.
But I think it just goes back to, like, how are cheaters even getting to top 250 without getting banned? And it's probably what's probably happening is if they're getting shadow banned, which I would assume probably are, because I feel like everyone's getting shadow banned. Like, I feel like, how do cheaters not get shadow banned? I feel like that'd just be insane, because they're probably still getting reported.
TTV Moon, this guy's been hacking since fucking Fortune's Keep, bro. He's on the top 250 leaderboard still, and he's still not banned. I don't know. Okay,
yeah, no,
so
it's insane.
The next thing they say is, note that malicious reporting is against the security and enforcement policy, which you can read online. It's important to clarify that when a user spams the report button in-game multiple times against a user, or someone uses an illegal cheat tool to spam 10,000 reports, our system does not consider... dude.
That sounds like gaslighting, but
that's
who
cap,
knows?
bro. That's cap, bro.
It's got to be cap. Like, their intention could be that, like, spam reports, like, don't work and their system's set up for it, but there's something behind the scenes, either coding or something, that, like, when someone spams reports, bro, it definitely goes through. There's just no way.
Yeah, like, bro, again, okay, like, this is why I understand maybe they think it, and maybe I don't know, but when people have the button on their cheats that say report times 100, and then they click that, and that player instantly gets shadow banned, that just proves that it's not true. You get what I'm saying?
Unless it really takes only one report to do it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like, which one do I believe? You know, I think the other one makes more sense, you know?
I don't know. Okay, I'm going to take that. I'm going to say that I don't believe that. New detection and warning systems for repeat playing with cheaters' behavior. When a cheater is banned, our system would detect other accounts it had regularly partied up with and raise flags for investigation to combat boosting and other cheater behavior. Okay, that's good. We have seen community question about detection methods like IP-based banning. We do not utilize IP-based bans for anti-cheat because they tend to take action against entire groups within a range that aren't problematic. For example, a college campus, or internet cafe would be swept up in an IP-based ban wave when only a single machine was targeted. In December, we announced that we're implementing major upgrades to the currently online and active kernel level driver for Season 2, as well as upgrades to server-side systems in early 2025. Here's more on what to expect from these updates and when they're set to be added. So in Season 2, they'll have new and improved client and server-side detections and systems, major kernel level driver update, improvements to driver security, reinforced encryption processes, new tampering detection systems. All right, let's pause here. I'm stupid as fuck. Does anyone know what this means?
I don't know what reinforced encryption process or new tampering detection system means. I just don't know. So if anyone in chat or JGod, if you have more.
Nope.
Because there's some big words. I'm not a very smart individual.
So let's.
I thought that's what we already had. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So look, let's take this. Let's take this and let's say, especially, I think with everything right today we're going to talk about, specifically anti-cheat, everything that we see today, we can read it, but we want to see action. So Season 2, they might have all these things they can write down, unless obviously they're gonna know that we don't know a lot of what this stuff means. Let's see if in Season 2 the hacking seems exponentially less than what we have now, because right now it's horrendous. All right, so let's move on. Season 3. A multitude of new tech, including a brand new system to authenticate legit players and target cheaters. Okay. As we get closer to season 3, we'll dive a little deeper on those systems. However, it's important we don't provide too many details that could give cheat developers a peek behind the curtain.
We've heard this in the past, but this scares me because they say a multitude of new tech, which just kind of leads me to it's just probably just AI automatic systems that are probably just implemented. I feel like it's probably what's going to be happening is they're just implementing more automatic systems that might just cause more issues, in my opinion. But could be wrong. It's just kind of like reading it. I'm like, okay, it's probably more AI systems that are used to detect some kind of automation process, and it might just cause more shadow bans.
I was gonna say, I wonder if this would help shadow bans, because if they can authenticate legit players, in theory, shadow bans should not happen, right?
How do you authenticate a legit player?
That's what I'm saying. So like, apparently this new tech is going to be used to authenticate legit versus cheaters, which again, we're just going to have to wait and see, because I don't really believe a lot of this until I see it, right? Again, I don't think anybody can blame any of us for first feeling like that, bro. That article was posted about them saying, like, kind of egging on cheaters, being, come and get us, bro. We have a kernel level anti-cheat now. And this is the worst. This is the worst it's ever been, bro.
Biggest troll, bro.
All right. So we're not slowing down in our mission to shut down cheaters whose only mission is to ruin the fun for everyone else. And we're confident that the combination of the updates above, as well as ongoing improvements to our detection systems and Activision's continued legal actions against illegal cheat sellers, will provide a demonstrably healthy gameplay experience going forward. Okay. So hear me out. You guys saw what Fortnite did, right?
I saw that, bro.
They pretty much sued for a lot of money a single person that was cheating in a tournament. Now, do you think a combination of both is the ideal way to go? Because I would only assume that if somebody is cheating in a tournament and now in Fortnite they're seeing, yo, this guy's getting sued for fucking 400K, right? Like, that would stop people from cheating, all, like, at least for the most part, because now there's actual repercussions, not just to the big corporate companies like the cheaters, but individuals themselves, right? Like,
yeah, I think they could abuse their power, right? Like, obviously, no one's going to be able to combat a company as big as Activision.
No,
like, obviously, the cheat providers, they just go and move on, but somebody like a regular person does not have the means to just, you know what, like,
yeah.
Like what? Like, what do you do? You're asked out, bro. I am all for it. Fuck it.
I'm all for it.
But I don't think they will. I don't think they will.
The whole cheating thing like went on way too long, where everyone was like, oh, every streamer's cheating. And then we had people in World Series of Warzone hacking. We've had people in the CDL, like what's that guy, Jimbo, who was like cheating in challengers or something. And then there's just been too many like people who've like cheated and then like nothing happened. Like Chef Gopperoni, we had Reload. Like there's a few people like in Warzone, especially like Vexo, Av, like those guys cheated. They almost qualified for LAN. Nothing happened. Like literally nothing happened. And so everyone that sees that is probably thinking like, oh, dude, if I cheat, I could just, if I get caught, like I have nothing to lose. So eventually, like you kind of have to do stuff like this where you're like forcing a hand, where it's like, we don't want even you to think about cheating, because if you do and you get caught, these are the actions and these are the consequences. So hopefully that's actually like, you know, enforced, because the more you just tell people, hey, you can hack and there's no consequences and nothing's going to happen, there's no legality or anything that's going to happen, then you could just do it freely.
I think part of the problem too is there's like no precedent for those things, right? Like a lot of times with the way the legal things work, obviously not in that particular case if they're suing the whatever, but I think when you like set precedent that, hey, this is how these situations will be handled, then later on it'll be like one of those things that it's a no-brainer where it's just too easy not to do. Where people just go, yeah, fuck it, I'm not going to touch that no more. Like, I'm not going to cheat because so-and-so
there's
lost
actual
everything.
Repercussions.
Yeah.
There's actual repercussions.
And I don't think they can be
actions,
criminal because, like, the aspect of, like, they could be in another country and you can't really pursue it. And then there's probably all kinds of red tape. But suing for money, I think, is a little bit easier for a lot of places. I don't know. I don't know.
I hope that Activision can take a page out of Fortnite's book there. So yeah, let's continue. So the next thing, so that's all they said about cheating. Now we have server stability, packet loss, and lobbies crashing. We've seen community reports of increased rubber banding, packet loss notifications, and server disconnects in recent weeks, especially in ranked play, and in certain regions where some players may not have access to as many servers as others. We've been monitoring match activity closely, including identifying suspicious accounts that appear in multiple crash lobbies. The team at Demonware has narrowed down some specific causes of these issues that can affect all players, and new improvements have been made to Call of Duty server infrastructure this week to reduce targeted cases of malicious activities on our infrastructure and players. While this is an industry-wide issue, we remain committed to combating individuals and organizations who intend to ruin the gameplay experience for others. So, I'm gonna pause here. I'm pretty sure, right, fellas? This has been fixed. Right?
Yeah, I think
At
that's
least
been
for me,
impacted
from-
significantly. The streams I've been watching, there's way less of those issues. Like way less.
I don't
Obviously, get
think
laggy lobbies or high ping.
Right.
On
Not that,
occasion,
yeah.
that's normal gaming. But like, yeah,
The crash lobbies. The crash
Yeah.
lobbies from I don't know if they tweeted that out, but I have not had a single crash since Monday's update. So again, when we talk about like, I want to see their actions. I don't want to just see it on right. Like this is great and all this article is great, but I want to see it. And I will say I do see that they did take action. I have not had a crash lobby by people all this week. So that has been fixed. Yeah. For those of y'all who play ranked, you'll know what I mean. So then if we scroll down with these new improvements now in place for both JD, scroll down. With these new improvements now in place for both Black Ops 6 and Warzone, we've already seen improvements in stability on the back end. While this isn't a one-size-fits-all solution for every potential issue with the online experience, we're confident in the results we've already seen in practice. Okay. In addition to these improvements, the team has also solved some specific server issues in regions that had recently experienced instability, and will continue to act quickly to resolve any of these if they reoccur. As always, the Call of Duty teams will continue to keep a close eye on performance and make adjustments as necessary to deliver the best possible player experience. As far as like specifically like servers, I really can't attest to that, right? Like when it comes, I can only attest to crashing the lobbies. That has been fixed. Now, when it comes to rubber banding, what's it called? Packet loss, all that stuff. I cannot attest to that. I cannot say whether they've done a better job at that or not. I did have a game like 2 days ago that had a packet loss. To be fair, I personally don't have packet loss too much. Maybe this might be dependent on what region you're from, et cetera, et cetera. But the only thing I can say is when the crashing the lobbies, unless somebody else can, like, unless people are still crashing that I don't know of, but they have stopped that from happening in ranked specifically. Now, Dev Airs, completely different story. Dev Airs, Dev Airs have been a thing since what? Like literally Modern Warfare 2019, right?
Well, those will always be a
Verdansk,
thing.
yeah.
Those will always be a thing. There's just some like hardware, software issues that fuck up every once in a while.
I know, dude, I remember Alman back in Verdansk. We used to do 2v2s.
They could be rare, but yeah.
Bro, Alman would reset like 15 times a tournament rose. But it was honestly his fault. Like I think his RAM was wrong or something was messed up. So I think a lot of devers are honestly like RAM based. Obviously the game if it has issues, but I know a lot of it's
not underclocking. Yeah. There's all kinds of weird shit.
Yeah, I mean it sucks, right? Because technically speaking, I was talking to somebody who's really, really like I'm not gonna say who, but he's very good with PCs. Like his whole life revolves around that. And he said, yeah, like you have to like underclock it or lower your performance to make sure it doesn't dev error. He's like, but like he's like you shouldn't be devering in general. Like that's just poor optimization. So
yeah.
I hope that one day that can be fixed, right? So now let's scroll down, JD. An update from the disruptive behavior team on voice moderation. Oh God, hey fellas, I got com banned for like a week or some shit. So let me see what they have to say on this. Since its initial rollout in 2023, Call of Duty's in-game voice chat moderation system has been an essential tool in reducing our players' exposure to hate speech, harassment, derogatory language, and voice comms. You can read our previous progress report for background on results. Players should have the freedom to trash talk, and we're constantly working with our teams to make sure moderation is solely targeting conversations that veer into derogatory territory. The disruptive behavior moderation and player support teams are constantly examining our moderation systems to make sure we get this distinction right. We employ our regular tuning sessions conducted by humans to improve the accuracy of the voice moderation detection systems based on our code of conduct, which specifically calls out the type of inappropriate language we target. Stay tuned later this year for a new progress report from the disruptive behavior team examining results for voice and text chat moderation. Okay.
And I think this is one that is weird because it is like a line where the same thing could be said in two different scenarios. One could be derogatory and one is just trash talk, right? Like it's really hard. I'm not defending the system. I don't even have voice chat on. Like I don't give a fuck. But realistically, it's like there is a difference between just trash talking and derogatory, racial, homophobic, whatever.
Right.
Trash talk, maybe even using some of those same things, but it's not. I don't know. It's a terrible ass system that'll never make everyone happy. Like there's just no winning.
I feel like I don't know. Comes up to like interpretation too. Like I don't know. I feel like it's just.
Look,
like,
bro, I'll be honest. I don't think I should have been combat. I don't think I said anything that crazy, bro.
I don't think anybody should be com banned. I think it's crazy.
Hey,
there's definitely people that need to be com banned. Yes.
Well, I get it.
For sure.
Okay, I'm saying but the majority of people, like a couple bad eggs, I would say 98% of people are probably not going rogue and just like being crazy. But because of those 2% of people, maybe it's a little bit more. The majority, at least, is probably being fine. Just because of the
I would say yes. I agree.
We have now a penalty on everybody because of it.
But I'm also not a lady in a COD S&D lobby. So I don't know what that sounds like. So I don't know. Maybe there's our extremes. Maybe there's different things with racial stuff and whatever, but I don't know. I don't use voice comm, so it doesn't impact me.
I turned it on for the first time in like 3 months, right? I was playing red light, green light, and some guy was talking shit to me, right? And so me and him were going at it right back and forth. Chat, let me know, should I have been combat? I told him, if you don't shut up, I'm gonna eat your ass and leave no crumbs.
Wow.
Was that really that bad?
That's a threat. You just threatened that man.
Yeah, obviously that shouldn't be comms banned. Like obviously that shouldn't be comms banned. Because obviously that's more just banter. But like I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. How do they like? What if I was like, you know, like this guy's camping like a bitch or something, but the system interpreted that where it's like I'm calling like a girl on the other team, like you know what I mean? Like obviously, like that's probably like an example that you could.
Yes,
gotta be context there.
On the top of your head, that's a pretty good example.
I'm like,
right?
dude, this guy's like camping like a bitch. It's not like, you know what I mean? What if they like pick that up and they're like, oh, this guy, like, get him out.
And people will go like, oh, it's a 17+ game. Who cares? Derogatory isn't fine no matter what your age is, bro.
Like, I get the extremes, but
should we have segregated lobbies too, bro? Like a 17+ game?
Seen
like, what are we doing?
The chat bans are insane. Like, they're insane. Like I've seen people get chat banned. They're not even talking. Like, they have mics off.
Oh yeah, somebody said that they have their shit literally not connected and they got chat banned somehow.
Yeah. So I don't know how the system works, but whatever it is, it's flawed. This is just them communicating that they're working on better ways to improve it.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see where that goes, right? I feel for a lot of the content creators who are, their whole content is based around like chat comms and then they just get, banned for that. So it is what it is. All right, so let's go to the next one, man. Incoming Black Ops 6 updates. In addition to all the new maps, modes, and rewards coming on day 1 of Season 2, Treyarch has prioritized several gameplay updates, quality of life improvements, playlist changes, and notable bug fixes scheduled for Season 2 launch based on player feedback, as well as key updates to rank play. So this is multiplayer chat. Boys, I don't mind just kind of skimming through it, right? So for global, maybe there's some stuff that will bleed over to Warzone. A challenge tracker.
That's going to be fire.
Which should be a thing, right? Separate HUD preset settings for multiplayer and zombies. Okay. Reduce collision with teammates to improve maneuverability around tight spaces and doorways with nearby teammates.
That's one that should have been done forever ago. Like, if you ever had to play shipment, and you're stuck in a fucking crate because the dude in front of you won't move. Like, what the fuck?
I would say the separate HUD stuff. It sucks that I have to go into multiplayer to change my HUD for Warzone. So I guess they're separating it all. Then multiplayer specifically, gameplay and quality of life updates, weapon balance pass, bullet penetration updates, further reducing weapon motion when jumping. Ooh, hold on. This is coming to Warzone. Hold on.
No, it's not. It's totally different in Warzone. It's going to be better. Warzone's going to be better. Yeah. Wait, you don't know it yet, but Warzone's going to be cooking. So keep reading through.
Do I go down? Okay. Further reducing weapon motion when jumping, sliding, and diving with the dexterity perk equipped. Okay.
There's no percentages. We don't know.
Exactly.
Relax.
Exactly.
It's all relax. It's all relax.
We don't know how much, like, is it further reducing by 0.001%? Or is it further reduction, like, where it's actually going to make a difference, right? Let's go. Is there a Warzone section of this, Jacob, that I need to read? Okay. I'm gonna wait. Hold on. All right. Improving player visibility and kill confirmed by reducing the height of the dog tags, simplifying, expanding requirements for several prestige calling card challenges. And then later in season 2, we're planning on adding an icon over an opponent's head when you shoot them if they have War Cry active, so you know they've got faster health regen. This should clear up confusion in firefights when you didn't know why an enemy with more health was able to survive an engagement. And then some playlist changes, expanding the number of featured playlists, bringing Gunfight back to featured playlists, keeping Stakeout 24/7, planning a small maps mosh pit, and then high profile bug fixes. Gearhead will now properly increase the charge rate of field upgrades. Free for all will accurately calculate the scoreboard by kills, and the winner circle will accurately showcase the top 3 free for all players. Ninja will no longer be able to reset between respawns or round transitions in certain game modes. Fixes and tuning updates for a large number of calling card challenges. Okay. Now this is rank play for multiplayer specific, right? Guys, just so you guys know, I am skimming through it fast because I do want to get to the Warzone part of this. We've heard the feedback from players about wanting the choice to toggle crossplay. I do think this is pretty big because I think this is also for Warzone too, correct?
No.
This toggle crossplay?
It's not mentioned.
I would highly doubt it. I'd highly doubt it.
Okay. We've heard the feedback from players wanting the choice to toggle crossplay in rank play since its launch earlier this season, and in the spirit of improving the gameplay experience, we're returning to the way we've traditionally handled crossplay in season 2. We are enabling the ability to disable crossplay for console players who want to compete only against other console players. This is currently in testing and is planned to go live for both Black Ops 6 rank play and Warzone rank play during season 2. We'll be monitoring closely and we'll consider further changes to prioritize the integrity of the ecosystem, and we'll have more details to share as we get closer to the launch of this feature. All right,
so you might need to jump on the PS5 for next season.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm surprised about that. Is there enough players to split console and PC players in ranks?
There must be. There's more players on console than there probably is.
So
Dude,
talk to me now. Okay,
that might be so bad for PC. Oh my god.
This was a big W, but then also a big L. I'm curious to see.
Well, hopefully you won't need to because
easier?
Ricochet is going to be better, right? Like,
that's.
What? Will it be easier for top 250 players? I know this only affects top 250 players, so not a lot. But will this be way easier now for people to get top 250?
Let's all go back to console, bro. Let's all go back. I mean, to answer your question, I don't know. Probably, I would say, like majority of. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the console player base like that. I feel like console players aren't even that bad. Am I tripping? Like the bots, obviously, the dads that get home from work. But I feel like if you're a decent player, you're playing ranked in the top 250 or Crimson, Diamond, you're probably not a bad player. Whether you play on console or PC, you're probably the same player.
Yeah,
brother. I'm actually curious to see it. This is all contemplation. How much this actually does affect like a big player base, right? Like, or the player base in general. Will people be like, hey, yo, I am going over to console now, fellas, and I have no cheaters and it's fun again. Like, that is enough to make people want to make the switch. Like,
I wouldn't say no cheaters.
Disagree only for the fact that most people don't have multiple platforms.
Okay. You're saying they don't
even have the choice. Yeah, they're not in your position to go, you know what, let me just jump on a console that I have spare in my room. Like, that's not the average person. They either have a console or they have a PC. I don't think most people have both.
Did you guys see that guy, that kid that was hacking on console?
Yes, I saw that. I don't know. Again,
there's a video that popped up today.
I don't understand how they were, but
I don't understand it.
It's probably the same thing as like using cheats on a second PC. You just like inject them somehow through your game.
No clue.
I'm not sure.
Hey.
I don't know how that works,
Slater, you missed it, Slater. We already talked about it, Slater. We already talked about it, man. All right. So we'll see how that plays out. Yeah. I'm glad that they're giving people the choice now. What implications will that have long term? I don't know. But to be fair, this was a thing before, right? Right? Like, before
it wasn't in Warzone, but it was in multi.
Warzone.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, Warzone, I don't think it was.
Okay, all right. So let's move on. The vote to forfeit feature is coming at season 2 launch. The vote to forfeit, which allows players to vote with their team to end a match early if the team is getting blown out or you've lost a teammate. Forfeited matches count as a standard loss and do not result in SR penalties or suspension. So this is multiplayer specifically. The ability to rejoin ranked play matches is also planned for later in season 2, which should help to ensure fuller teams in matches if players experience a disconnect. Wait, what? Do they not have that in multiplayer?
That's actually crazy. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Okay, I'm curious. Do they know that you cannot join a ranked lobby right now in Warzone? It's 50-50 whether it works or not. I'm curious if they know that. Because if multiplayer is getting what Warzone has, being able to rejoin a game mid-game, y'all are just know it's cooked. It's not as good as y'all think it is. It's 50-50. You lag out, and whether you come back in or not, all decides whether the game wants to let you or not. It's random. Yesterday, or 2 days ago, I took a big minus 150, 130 because I devered at the start of the game and I couldn't rejoin. It just said failed to connect to host, And then Evan, same thing. He failed to connect to host. He took a big minus 150. So manage your expectations here if it's anything like the Warzone one. Then new season 2 rank player awards will include camels for gold rank and up, Jackal PDW blueprint for 10 wins, and large decal for 100 wins. All right. Now let's move over to the Warzone side of things because zombies, we don't really cover that.
That was the whole thing. They're just getting a new map.
Okay. So, all right. I have not read this yet. So before we begin, everybody manage your expectations because they tell us things and then they don't come true, or they come true, but they're not the way we thought. So let's hear what they have to say. All right. So incoming Warzone updates. Let's talk about season 2 for Call of Duty Warzone. We've made the decision to prioritize focus on gameplay tuning, adding more quality of life, and addressing ongoing bugs. This means that in order to deliver meaningful improvements to our players, new content originally planned for season 2 has been shifted to create bandwidth to address foundational issues. Let's pause. Tell us, chat, W or L on that decision. I'm going to go ahead and say for me, that's a W because prioritizing content when the game foundationally is shit is not the way to go about it. You got to make sure the foundation is good and the game is actually playable before we add new content. Thoughts, boys?
I mean, I think it should have been done sooner, right? Realistically, there wasn't a need to launch Warzone integration early. We could have just delayed it a month and it could have came out on January 6th or something. But it is what it is, right? It's going to get done. Somehow they got to get people from somewhere. They don't have an unlimited budget, unfortunately. Yeah. I agree with, like you said, W, but the fact that we are here is embarrassing. I get that wholeheartedly. There's still be bundles in the store. Those are already pre-made. They're making money off of that.
It's more like
there'll still be bundles. Lucky you'll be all right.
Bundle boy.
For example, just for it's okay, should they have fixed, for example, when they say foundational stuff, should they have fixed, let's say, default perks over releasing Squid Games? That's what they mean by they're going to fix core stuff instead of content, which, yes, in my opinion,
and
who cares about Squid
contractually,
Games?
they're still going to have events next season. They've already signed up for whatever event. We just don't know it yet. We'll see it on the roadmap in a week and a half or so because we got about 10 days until the update.
Jesus Christ.
And so we'll have a roadmap between then and a blog that'll cover all the cool things they got paid to include in the game.
That brings up a good point because the Squid Game thing was probably already signed 6 months ago, and they probably didn't expect the game to be in such a bad state, but they have to go through with that. Jay got says, they're contractually bound to kind of go through with the game mode, the event, everything. So that brings up a really good point. I didn't even really think about it like that.
Yeah. All right, let's continue, man. These improvements won't come all at once. Of course. Quality of life changes coming mid-season. Our priority is having the most solid foundation that Battle Royale can offer and are excited for the players to see it all live. All right? Let's see what they plan on changing. So key gameplay and quality of life adjustments. Warzone is a constantly evolving game, bringing new experiences through yearly integrations of weapons, mechanics, maps, and more. While this approach keeps things fresh, it also comes with its share of challenges. Regular changes comes with the risk of shifting the game away from what some players may consider their sweet spot, altering mechanics and features that once defined the game for them. The ongoing challenge lies in finding the right balance of innovation while preserving the core DNA that makes the game uniquely Warzone. On that note, we're introducing a number of gameplay adjustments in Season 2 and beyond that we hope players will be happy to see. So it's pretty much saying, like, every year they got to change the game because there's a new core game. So Warzone will always change no matter what. To some people, Warzone 2 was their best favorite Warzone ever. But the year after that, they know it's changing. And then, Modern Warfare 3 comes. Some people think Modern Warfare 3 is the best Warzone ever. But a new game comes out and they got to change it. Same thing for this year. There are probably some people that like this year and they think it's perfect. But next year, actually probably not next year because next year is Treyarch again, I think. But they're
waiting on IW to come back. Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's see what that entails exactly. So, oh my God. Weapons, reload speeds are faster for weapons anywhere from 5 to 20% depending on weapon class. They gave us numbers. I said, oh my God, because they gave us numbers. Now,
5%.
Okay, somebody tell me what's 5% of like 3 seconds?
Well, no, regardless of that, it depends on the weapon, right? And this is kind of how it always worked. Remember last year, even with sleight of hand, some guns, it felt like it was worthless. And other ones, it was important, but you had to include it regardless because the weapons you pick up off the floor or whatever. Realistically, I think sleight of hand was a default 15% or something like that, 12 to 15% in most games. So realistically, this is going to give sleight of hand by default, probably on a lot of guns. Because it depends on the weapon class. So snipers probably won't have a significantly faster reload, but then an SMG might, right? So it really depends on what class. Like that bullet point could have had rifles 15%.
And then this.
SMGs, yeah. But realistically, we're gonna get sleight of hand by default, essentially, with that difference.
Okay. Well, this is something that people have been saying. So again, like what Jay got said. They're preheating the oven. Let's see if it comes out burnt because that's good. Faster reloads is good. Now, is 5 to 20% enough? We'll see. Is this saying Season 2? Or they didn't clarify, right? They just said...
I thought it said mid-season, no?
I think it said... Let me go back up. It said somewhere here that it's going to be mid-season and beyond. Or on Season 2 and mid-season. I don't know where it's at. Oh, right here. These improvements won't come all at once. Rather, they'll be staggered across the season and with quite a few quality changes coming mid-season. So I'm curious. I wish they would have included.
I guess we got to wait to the patch, right? To see what is included now and then look to the next week and whatever when it can drop.
Yeah. Okay. Now, the next thing is reduce penalty when sprint to fire jumping from 35% to 10%. Oh, wow, that's actually a pretty big change. And increase jump ADS speeds by 25%. The intent is to find that middle ground of being able to pull off jump shots without it being the meta movement strategy. Thoughts on this?
It's closer. It's like the halfway between what it was and what it is, right?
Halfway between.
I think that's pretty significant, though.
Yeah, 35 to 10%. I mean, that's a 3 times change, right? 3.5 times change, I think, right? Shit. So I would assume that that's going to have a pretty big impact on the way the game feels. And then increase ADS jump speeds by 25%. I don't know how much that's going to affect it, to be honest.
I mean, I get it because they don't want every single fight where you have to jump. So they're just trying to find the balance of being able to drop shot, or if you slide left, or if you jump, you're not getting penalized for doing one of those. Because I think right now, if you jump, you're pretty much guaranteed to lose it, right? If you jump and shoot, it's
you're going to lose the fight.
Right.
If you jump right now and you shoot, you're losing that fight. You're losing that fight. So if this makes it to where you can, it'll be viable. That's a good change.
Right.
Yeah, it's another tool in your arsenal to use when in gun engagements. Again, we're gonna have to wait and see, but 35 to 10% is not bad at all. But who knows if the 25% will be enough for increased jump ADS speeds. Okay, now adjusted bullet penetration across most materials, resulting in a more consistent experience for thicker walls in particular. Hey, E-Bates.
Hey.
They heard you, man.
This is a big one.
They heard you, man.
Let's go, baby.
They heard you, man.
Let's go, baby. Come on.
For those of y'all who weren't there in that podcast or didn't hear it, pretty much everything right now in Urzikstan is wall bangable, and
Rebirth too.
Yeah, Rebirth.
Right?
Everything.
There's a lot of
everything.
It's just materials.
And so seeing that, I'm glad that they made concrete walls feel like concrete walls.
Yep.
Then weapon swap speeds increased by 10%, effectively replicating the effect of quick grip gloves perks from. Hey, now hold on. At the first sentence, I was kind of like, but then when they say the word replicating, do you think that means that like
they're saying it's pretty similar to quick gloves, which would be
from
pretty
last year?
Well, replicating is
Right.
copying, so it's the same.
Right.
effectively though, Jacob. That's the
Okay,
word.
now what's the word effectively?
They could have taken out
Bro,
effectively
look at this.
if it was an exact copy. They would have just said replicating the effect of it, but they said effectively
Okay. All right. Well, so this means default perks are back.
One of them so far. We gotta keep
that's
going.
default.
All right, we'll continue. Okay. Removed burst and semi-auto rifles and low rarity pistols from the ground loot. Thank God. Allowing for more confidence in knowing how your weapon will fire when you pick it up. Wait, that's actually
That's
like,
goated.
bro, that's actually really good for ground loot. Because the amount of times I'm picking up a fucking DMR or bro, that's ass. And then somebody has a fucking jackal. So that's actually. I don't think we've ever had that, right? The AK. Oh my God. Yeah, right, bro. I might as well hit him with my fist, bro. Okay, now let's go. Let's go into movement. Increase both jump speed. Both jump speed and successive jump height with one unmodified successive jump. Okay.
Ooh.
Sounds like a bunny hop.
Is that bunny hopping?
No.
Well, they specifically say one unmodified successive jump. We talked about being able to jump once.
Hey, hold on. Did they switch?
I don't know why
who's
they
in
didn't
charge?
guess that shit because they
Did
could have just
switch?
said.
The single bunny hop.
Hey, did they switch who's in charge? Because what am I reading here? Bro.
Oh, I got to tell you something off stream.
Yeah, please. I'm going to tell you right now, the last thing I expected to wake up and read today was faster reload speeds, faster weapon swap speeds, decreased ADS penalties when jumping, decreased jumping penalties, increased jump speed, and successive jump height. I don't know. Again, I'm going to continue to say this because y'all going to fucking get mad.
Bro,
We have to see it. But
I hope this means that you can, like, if it's a single bunny hop, right? So you jump. I hope you can slide after that second jump. Like, that would be insane. If you could jump, slide. So it's like a continued, like, jump, and then, like, slide. Oh, dude. Movement could be insane. I can't lie. I'm not going to get too excited, but this sounds gas. It sounds gas.
Bro, I'm gonna be blunt here. I had no faith. I'm like actually kind of in shock that they're doing these changes.
I kind of wish they put in parentheses bunny hopping.
I agree.
Yeah.
That
Just
would
so we
like
know
make
for
it
sure, 'cause
clear.
I don't know what this really means. I don't actually know what this means.
Let's wait till season 2 if this comes out, because for all we know, remember what happened in Warzone 2 where they said, decreased time between diving and shooting, but this definitely does sound like a bunny hop. It's okay. Now, increase the speed of the parachute cut animation, making cutting a parachute and readying your weapon significantly faster.
That's that one clip that
I've seen this.
Yeah.
Dude, that's when the tweet, bro. That's the tweet that we got tagged in when we showed it. I think you quoted it. Yes.
It was bad. Yeah, we brought it up on a podcast and we showed the difference in the two speeds. Like from Warzone 1 to Warzone 2, they changed the animation when you cut your shoe. And for whatever reason, it was reintroduced back with Black Ops 6 integration. We had the Warzone 2 speeds.
It was Marcus's tweet.
Mark.
Yes.
Mark, you made a W change, Mark. Good shit, bro. Hey, Mark. Hey, holy, that was actually Mark
to
in
be
the chat.
honest, I think this one could have just been oversight. Like it wasn't even something they intentionally went out of their way to go, you know what, let's change this mechanic to make it slower. It could have just been like, oh, we copied this one over and we just assumed it was the same, like whoever was working on it. I don't know. But it's better that now it's going back the way it should be.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay. Then increase player velocity when landing from a cut parachute land for smoother transitions into full sprint, which I think these two are combined.
Right.
Yeah.
It sounds like, yeah.
Okay. Oh my God. That's insane. I just heard. All right. Now, the next one is audio. reducing reverb effects to improve directionality of movement audio produced by other players, footsteps, ascenders, parachutes. For especially this, you can't even like right us reading this.
No, there's no way. We gotta wait for the art vid.
Yeah, we gotta see it. We gotta actually. This is one we gotta hear it to believe it. Right now, perks. Now, guys, a lot of perks are fucking broken. A lot of perks are broken, and so let's see what changes they made. This seems pretty decently long. Let's see what they did.
Hey yo.
Combat scout pings replaced with an outline that is not visible through walls.
So it probably still works through smokes. It probably still works through like bushes and stuff, but it doesn't work through. Basically, the reason Combat Scout they want it in the game is so casuals that use it, it's basically live pinging their teammates for them. So that because if they don't have chat mics or if they don't have like in-game comms or they don't know how to live ping, then basically that's why Combat Scout's even in the game.
And I think the choice of the word walls highlights the point you just made with the smoke and bushes and foliage.
So it's going to be an outline
viable.
like
it's viable for pubs. It's not.
I think
like
it's going to be the outline that they're removing.
The playtest had.
No. They were moving in here where when you execute somebody or hold hostage, it highlights their teammates. I think it's going to be that, but with
the camera, like the little camera,
or the camera, which they nerfed both
snapshot.
of those. Which you'll see, they nerfed both of those. But yeah.
Yeah, Jacob, you say you skimmed through this. I don't know you knew everything.
I'm a skimmer, dog. What you talking about?
Bro, okay, my theory might be is, do you guys remember, I think, J God, you were there, the playtest that we did for Modern Warfare 3 before the game launched? And
yeah, they tried that, but they removed it.
You think it could
after
be like
the fact.
that?
No, I think it's going to be the like the one we currently have.
Okay,
already.
Okay, all right. Now, for the next thing, added new default perks. I know Iceman Isaac is somewhere fucking jumping up and down. I don't even know what it says yet, and I know he's happy. All
Bro,
right,
I see that first one, and I'm like, hold up.
What default perks did they add? Dexterity. The weapon component of dexterity has been increased in effectiveness and made default for all Warzone players.
So basically, you're getting the one that we just saw in multiplayer, where it said that it increased it, but you still got to equip it. That one now it's going to be improved and defaulted.
They fucking cook.
Oh.
Did they cook?
But as you'll see, Mountaineer got separated from the perk, and now Dexterity is no longer a perk you equip, and you got to equip Mountaineer. But yeah, you'll get
Hey man,
Mountaineer.
Somebody took over, bro.
Somebody took
over because I did not expect this.
What's going on?
When people were like, okay, I want you to understand. For me to go live and chat to say, first of all, as of right now, the COD community, whether it be TikTok comments, YouTube comments, Twitch comments, has all been incredibly negative. Like incredibly negative, right? So like to get online, I haven't even read this, right? I just know they posted it. And then they see my chat, bro, they actually cook, bro. Like things might actually, like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's actually good. I'm like, guys, chill out. But then reading this, I'm like, okay, what the fuck happened? Right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just didn't expect to see any of this, right? Like, I don't know. I'm actually a little bit taken back. I don't know. Okay, we'll continue. So pretty much, actually, before we continue, J God, this just means the weapon stuff, right?
Yeah, so that's the bob up and down when you jump. It should improve a lot of that by default when you dive and slide, and basically all the things that happen with your crosshair will be improved. Whatever was listed, it'll probably be the identical. Beautiful. I don't think they'll be that far different from what we read. If you scroll up to the multiplayer section, whatever it said there, that's probably been increased. They probably just copied it over, and then they separated Mountaineer so that if you want that perk still, you have to equip Mountaineer by itself. But it'll be the buffed version of Mountaineer, likely.
Okay. Listen, the fact that we're getting dexterity as a default, even though right now it doesn't do anything, if they actually did improve it.
Yeah, so that buff, whatever the percentages are,
that's going to be default then.
That's going to be default. And then the Mountaineer will still be part of that for multiplayer. Like you'll still have to equip dexterity, but in Warzone, they basically just scrapped the idea of dexterity, made a default, split off Mountaineer, added it to a perk, made it its own perk, and essentially you're going to equip Mountaineer in that perk 1 slot unless they rearrange perks. Essentially, it'll work the way it did 3 months ago. Like, you equip Mountaineer for Mountaineer.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. I mean, okay. Like, I'm curious to see, does it make that big of a difference? But I wish they would have put here, like, mid-season or season 2.
It doesn't matter. Like, I agree with that part, but it doesn't really matter because it's going to improve all aspects because you're going to spawn in with dexterity on your pistol.
Right.
Like that you come.
So
in with,
either way, it's going to be better than what we have, no matter what.
No matter what.
Yeah. And then, so going on to that next bulletin point, as mentioned above, we've replicated the effect of quick grip gloves and fast reload via weapon adjustments.
Right.
Which we saw earlier, which is actually, again, people have been asking for default perks, dexterity and quick grip gloves and fast reload, as we've wanted that, right? I'm assuming, I haven't read it right, but maybe is there more mantling speed adjustments coming? I don't know, but glad that those are now default. Mountaineer,
I want to say this is cool because this is like, it feels like the first time we've had like a 2-part where it's like, okay, they buffed dexterity, and not only did they buff it, they now made it default. Because a lot of times what they would do in the past is they would buff something, we try it out, we'd be like, oh, this is great, but I still have to grab my perks for it. And now the fact that they just did like a kind of like a 2-step thing is, in my opinion, a huge step in the right direction. So I kind of wanted to point that out.
Okay. All right, next one. Mountaineer returns as a perk in slot 1, replacing dexterity. We've increased the fall damage reduction substantially. Good, because that shit was ass. From what is currently in live with dexterity. Though not quite the powerhouse it was in Modern Warfare 3. Okay. Okay. So I will say, yo, Modern Warfare 3, it was fun as fuck. It was crazy. Modern Warfare 3 Mountaineer.
It literally changed how you played the game.
Yeah.
Was actually fucking nuts. Was actually nuts. So I guess they found a middle ground, right? Now, okay, veteran. This is a big one when it comes to just in general, I guess ranked more specifically. Veteran now significantly reduces the damage ticks of gas grenades. Those shits are OP. I know you guys don't play ranked, but just know these are abused like crazy right now. So if it does, they said significantly, that's actually a W. Then next is equipment and kill streaks. Munitions satchels now only provide 1 additional item. Wait, is that the one that gives you?
You got to scroll a little bit only because on our end it's cut. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, JD, yeah, keep up with me, man. Come on. Munitions satchels.
Oh, I thought you were scrolling, Hector.
No, JD's scrolling.
I was like, oh, how was he reading the? Okay, it must not be the full thing. All right, you're good then.
Yeah, I'm reading the tweet, but JD has it up on his end.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense.
Munition satchels now only provide 1 additional item, down from 2, to address overstacking and spamming equipment. This right there, what is actually a big change, because right now in the game, it feels like we got rid of backpacks, but not really got rid of backpacks because of the munition satchel. And for those that don't know, you would have a munition satchel, you would get 4 nades, 4 smokes, or 4 gas grenades. And then if you have a munitions box, that what's 4 times 3, 12, 12 times 3 again, dude, 36.
Yeah, I think this is a good compromise. I still would prefer it to not have this effect, but
right.
I think it's a compromise. I think it goes in line with eBay saying they're kind of doing it halfway. Because maybe it will be the sweet spot. Like, it won't be like, oh my God, it's still broken.
Right.
Obviously comp has to deal with things differently and things could be banned from comp.
Right.
So more in terms of like the player base pub health, like this is a good change, and I don't
good for pubs.
know if they need to remove it all the way, but like this will at least be a step in that direction, right?
I can see the munitions satchel being gone from competitive Warzone. I can see them removing this. Like, right, so for pubs, I think this is a good change. Then the next one is maximum deployed tacticals and lethals reduced to 2 each, down from 3, to make more purposeful trap plays. So that's actually good. It's the bouncing betties, the bomb, the little sticky bombs thingy. Before you could stack 3 and guarantee an insta kill. Now, if somebody has a bomb squad, you actually won't die from 2, I believe. So good. I'm glad they did that. Gas grenade radius, duration, and movement penalties reduced to bring in line with the vision of a zoning tactical and less of a lethal crutch. Okay, so nerfed. Hey, okay. Spy camera's outline effect no longer renders through walls. So this would probably become unusable, correct?
Basically, I think realistically, the ping will still be important. Like, oh, somebody's in this area, especially if you do like something where it's a funneled area where you can go, oh, okay, they're got to be coming through this pathway. Then at least, boom, you'll know where the individual is. But beyond that, I don't see a practicality other than like, they're funneling through a direction and essentially it's giving you a ping saying, hey, somebody's walking through this doorway that you have covered or whatever.
Right.
Other than that, no.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I didn't think spy cameras were that OP right now. Because you have to stop using like smokes or gas. So like it actually is a trade-off. So I'm curious to see how these are, I'm curious to see how these are. I don't know. Advanced UVs will now show elevation arrows. When did this go away?
This was never really had it. It's in multiplayer. So
yeah,
I remember we were talking about it, Hector, before the game came out. I was like, yo, Bird's Eye's going to be broken because now like it got a buff because there's going to be elevation. And they never added it to Warzone. It was only in multiplayer.
Yeah. But we've had this before, right? Elevation on advances in Warzone?
No, never. It's always been the downside. Never.
Yeah, so if you pop it advanced,
part of
you
the
don't know what level
problem
they're on.
was when they designed it, it was never really even necessary to have really that much elevation because the game in general doesn't have like 10
insane
floors
levels. Yeah.
So it was really never necessary. And in Warzone, it was so few and far between that you even had the ability to do an advanced.
Did Warzone 2 not have it? Am I high?
Nah.
Are you sure? Are you positive that Warzone 2 didn't have it?
Yeah.
I could be high. I could be high.
They just had the normal like advanced. Unless they were ghosted. If they were ghosted and you popped in advanced, then it would obviously do the same thing up and down. But it was never when it was like the full Bird's Eye.
Okay, maybe I'm high. So I'm actually glad this is being implemented. Then moving on to miscellaneous. Body shield functionality limited. So no longer automatically releases player in free fall. What does that mean?
There's a specific bug with it related where I seen on the timeline where a guy jumped off the water tower on Rebirth and then he broke his legs and it released the guy and the guy was perfectly fine.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, and no longer provides an outline of the victim's teammates through walls. Remove manual release of players, keeping them alive. Must end with an execution. Oh man, I actually like that, bro. Just like whispering in their ear, letting them go, and then knocking them again and picking them back up.
Bro.
Yeah, those were always the best, bro. Then the flares that fire out of buy stations when a player is bought back can now be pinged to increase visibility on redeployments.
Oh, cool.
Wait, what?
So if you buy somebody back, you could ping the buy station just to let your teammates know that like they bought back. It's kind of like a live ping, but on the buy, just to like say like, hey, they bought back here. It's just for pubs, casuals that just don't have mics. They can just ping a buy station and just be like, hey, this guy bought back.
Okay.
Cool.
Match stat tracker font adjusted for better readability at lower resolutions.
No, I think that one's different. I think that's a different thing. You're talking about the buy station.
What do you mean?
Flare one, you go so back to the flare one? What'll happen is there'll be a flare, and you can actually. It sounds like you can ping the flare,
right?
And then be like, "Oh, somebody got bought at that." Yes,
to like say, like,
pulling out your map
to tell them,
instead of pulling out the overhead tac map and then pinging the buy station.
Right.
You could just ping the flare in the sky.
No, that's what I meant. Like to let them know they bought back.
Somebody else bought back. Yes.
Right. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
That's so weird. I mean, I guess I can see so they don't have to open up the map.
Because now you do it. You open up the map. You open up the map and you ping the buy station. That's how you do it. So it
basically makes it easier for people who don't have mics to be like, hey, yo, they just bought back there. Careful. Instead of putting the map open. Okay.
Yeah, it's just smoother gameplay. Less time in the mini map or on the over tech map.
All right. Now the next thing is bug fixes. So it says there. Hold on. I'll wait for JD. All right. So Regarding live issues, we know how frustrating it is to see them linger or go unaddressed in patch notes. Although our teams work hard to keep COD updates and Trello current with the most visible issues, these channels do not reflect the full depth of work being done behind the scenes. Prioritization of fixes is fluid and shifts as new issues appear or as ground is paved on existing ones. As always, player feedback is an important pillar of this process, so we encourage you to continue sharing your experience with us. Here are some of the fixes players can expect to see when Season 2 launches. Okay, so they gave us an actual date, which is great, Map and gameplay issues. Addressed visibility of dark areas and characters on Rebirth Island. Okay, that's actually W. Address players being forced to stand up while reviving down squad members. Okay. Addressed exploits allowing players to access uninterrogated areas of the map. Yeah, underneath the map. Okay. Addressed parachutes deploying when jumping off ladders. I know somebody was just saying in the chat, I don't know who it was. I was like, bro, why haven't they fixed this? 2 months later, it's fixed. So 2.5, 3 months, I guess.
Yeah, it's basically been there since the beginning, but yeah.
All right, so weapons and equipment. Addressed weapons becoming inaccessible near interactable areas. Good. Address weapons falling through buy station models. Great. Address weapon tooltips appearing as a common when dropped to the ground. Addressing weapon
That's
tooltips.
the color.
Oh, gray, right?
Yeah.
The gray, like, okay.
Common's gray,
So,
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then perks and contracts. Address ghosts persisting through the pre-match lobby into the match. W.
This is the one that you talked about last week.
Yeah. Everybody had ghost, and now that's being fixed. Address cold-blooded not properly countering tracker. W. Address quick fix health regen not properly activating while plating. I thought this was fixed like a while ago.
Nope. It's never worked.
Damn. Keep in mind, I stopped using quick fix.
Because a lot of times what was deceptive for people, you would get it down, and then when you got the thirst, it would start the healing, but it would coincidentally look like it was happening while you were plating, because obviously you're doing that action as you thirst somebody.
Damn. Okay. All right. Then next one. Address survivor preventing players from reviving down squad members. Wait, is that what it is? Is that what was causing the bug survivor perk itself?
Yeah, that's funny.
I think sometimes you have to spam the revive in order for it to work sometimes.
But that seems like they found out what the cause was, not the gas or some other bullshit.
Right. I thought it was bunkers.
They actually narrowed it down.
Okay. Then it said addressed most wanted contracts not overriding respawn timers as intended. What's that?
Most wanted contracts not overriding respawn timers as intended. Maybe if you had a
Rebirth.
Maybe that's for Rebirth. Yeah, where you have a 20-second timer and then that thing runs out. Technically, the person should automatically, it should go to 0 and they should respawn.
Okay.
Now it will.
All right. Next one is addressed operator selection appearance issues in menu. I assume that means you can now actually change the operators, like regardless of what menu you're on. And now specifically rank play. All right. So it said, in addition to the above note on incoming crossplay options for console players, rank play in Season 2 will see a refinement to the amount of SR required and adjustments to deployment fees. Oh, okay. Side note, I actually feel like ranked right now from an SR perspective is not in a bad state. So I'm curious to see what adjustments they found that they don't or they do like and what they're gonna change. Right? They said these updates aim to soften the on ramp into accessing rank play and make the top end truly competitive. Well then, okay, you have my attention. As a parting thought, we want to take a moment. Wait, what? Wait, they don't tell us anything. Wait, what? Wait, what? They just said that and then they didn't tell us what they're going to do? All right, I guess we'll wait and see what the patch notes say. As a parting thought, we want to take a moment to reflect on the significance of Black Ops 6 integration, the largest in Call of Duty history, which for the first time has brought our teams and products together into a unified development environment. While this transformation has presented its share of obstacles, it also paves the way for more ambitious updates and closer collaborations in the future. We're essentially laying a foundation to make new technology immediately available to all of our studios, improving development pipelines and the stability of porting features between titles and allowing us to focus more of our time on future releases. That's actually a pretty... Whether this actually does happen or not, honestly, yes, there's a bunch of W changes, but this right here is like, if they can actually make this happen, this right here is why Warzone sucks. no troll. This right here is why Warzone sucks right now, is because we start from scratch every single year because they have to integrate a new Warzone every single year. Now, whether this actually, does anything, whether they actually are making it easier, if they can find a way for them to spend less time fixing the game and actually improving things, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. In my opinion, this right here, if they can actually figure this out, we might actually not have a bad launch because every launch is somewhat fucked up. This year being the most fucked up, which I guess because it's the largest integration in Call of Duty history, So I don't know. Thoughts on this, boys?
I don't know. I feel like most integrations we've had have been super sloppy, and I can't even tell you the last time we've had a good integration for Warzone, like off the rip. So,
well, it's
Was
always been
Modern Warfare 3
hiccups
okay?
because,
it wasn't bad, actually.
I
Modern
think
Warfare 3
they
is pretty
banked
good.
that. Like we've talked about this a lot, that they banked on MW2 being the great COD or whatever, and it was a huge miss. So they basically had to correct course, and when you have to correct course, you're gonna have to hurry and make mistakes and all these other issues. And foundationally, it was weak, but
Yeah, I
I think this was the worst integration. Worst integration, like from a purely restarting standpoint, was really fucking bad.
yeah.
Okay. Were you gonna say something, Ebates?
No, I mean, I think Modern Warfare 3 was pretty solid, but other than that, I mean, so I don't know. Hopefully this fixes things in the future. It's kind of just like something we have to wait for the next year, so we'll see.
Okay. Which I feel like next year might be it might, because it's Treyarch again, it might
Right.
be easier, I believe.
Right.
But again, who fucking knows? Now looking ahead, that's the next one. We have ambitious plans and plenty of new content coming to Call of Duty in 2025. And you have our commitment. That's what's been outlined above. What's been outlined above is only the next phase in a series of ongoing updates with one mission in mind: making our games secure, social, and fun. And then a bunch of other stuff. Season 2 launch is just around the corner on January 28th. Thank you to our players for your patience, and we'll be back with more communication soon. So that is this article, fellas. I guess now that we've read everything, general thoughts, boys. What's y'all's initial?
Okay, before we do that, I linked something in the chat.
Yeah,
So just
I was gonna
that'll be the
say-
conversation.
Oh no, what
Yeah.
happened?
Can you pull up that tweet in the group chat?
Oh no.
That's a great tweet. That's funny.
Oh,
So this is
no.
why we have trust issues, right? Like,
That's great. That's great.
Yep, I agree. W update on paper, but in actuality, what's going to actually change, right? On paper is great, but in actuality, what's going to actually happen? No? Yeah. All right. So here it is. Charlie Intel tweeted this. He said, I will say we have been in the same place several times. Vanguard in 2022, right? So that is which one? That's this one? Right. So it says, we wanted to take a minute to talk about fixing the game. We hear you. We feel your frustrations. Our team are hard at work addressing the
look
issues.
at the date, boys. 4 days to the day almost.
That's Caldera.
Oh,
Caldera.
God. Oh, God.
Yeah, that's Caldera.
Yo, we wanted to take a minute.
Hey, but to be fair, they end up cooking in the second half.
Yeah, they did actually do good in Caldera near the end. The map was fucking horrible, but the quality of life changes were actually great. Pretty much, our team are hard at work addressing the issues that are being experienced across Vanguard, Warzone, and Modern Warfare. Updates are being deployed as quickly as possible. We want everyone to have a seamless experience, no matter which game, which mode, or platform you're on. Your feedback is a critical part of our development process, which actually, is that like word for word what they said in this one?
Feels like it.
Is that word for word?
No, it's
my
not,
God.
but it's pretty close.
Okay. So go to the next one. So the next one is what? Warzone
Here's
2?
my homework, but change it a little bit.
Oh, look at the date, boys.
Oh my
Bro.
Oh my God, bro. Oh my God. So season 2 will be launching February 15th. Stay tuned for additional intel. Season 2 will be launching on February 15th. Our studio teams have been making several changes based on what we've heard from our player community. Season 2 includes all new content with the return of Resurgence and a brand new small map for Warzone 2.0. Rank play is also back and coming to Modern Warfare 2, along with new multiplayer maps, new modes, weapons, much more. Stay tuned for additional intel.
Bro, they have these tweets scheduled every year. They just have them scheduled.
Now go to the next one. What's the other one? Then the next one is
Is
and
this
then
one,
today.
this one, yeah.
And then today is this one. You know, which kind of
They skipped Modern Warfare 3.
Was
Yeah,
Modern Warfare
'cause
3?
Modern
I feel
Warfare
like Modern
3
Warfare 3 came out pretty.
It was
came
good.
out
There were
hot.
some loadout issues. I don't think you could grab loadouts. Somebody said
Well,
in
you
my
know
chat.
why it
But it was
was?
for like a day.
Yeah.
It was because the MW2 was so bad, like that like was an issue. Plus,
Right.
I felt like MW2 as a game, it was pretty solid. Obviously, it had issues, but overall, the game was pretty solid. I felt like Sledgehammer came into their own. The weekly updates, fire, aftermarket parts. Every other week was a new camo, like something to grind in the game. Even though there was fundamental flaws about the game, as a whole, it was pretty good. Multiplayer. Zombies was like whatever. It was cool, but not like round based. And then Warzone was like okay, right? We finally got ranked, and like there was a lot of things that came out of MW3 being good. And then it felt like we went backwards, which I think that's what like irked
Why
people.
everybody's so pissed? Because we always go
MW3
backwards.
couldn't go backwards, right? Like
Right.
so they had that
Right.
advantage. So it's a little unfair. Like if we would have got BO6 instead of MW3, it still probably would have been like positive, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah, it would have
It's
been
just-
way. Yeah. Like,
yeah.
so I mean,
It's
I
'cause
get
we
from what I
went from-
recall, Modern Warfare 2 to Modern Warfare 3, like, right?
Listen.
Like, Modern Warfare 3 was actually not a bad integration. Like, I'm trying to recall, and I feel like if I can't remember, was there anything insanely bad? Obviously, there was like the single tap fire gun that they did fix before going on break and stuff like that. But I think last year was pretty, like, apart from the map actually being shit, right? Like Urzikstan and lack of content in general for big map, like the game itself foundationally was not bad at all last year. And so
Yeah.
that's probably why we felt the way we felt. And then this year, complete 180, right? Like complete 180. So yeah, audio was bad. Audio was bad. I remember that. That's what it
Audio,
was.
And then people
Audio
got
was
stuck
shit.
on zip lines. I know zip lines were like a huge issue. But
Yeah, so
I
I
mean-
guess, boys, what, like, it sucks, man. Like, because, bro, they released this update or they released this community update, and it's like, and I feel like they can't even be, like, they can't even, like, we feel this way because history is repeating itself. Like, we felt this way for so long, and it always happens every single time. And the only way for this cycle to end is for them on launch to, like, to just come out with a good game, right? Like,
Yeah.
Well,
when
I
they
think
say
this
these things,
time's a little different too because of like the thing I've mentioned for several months now is I felt like this integration was like a soft launch, and then we're getting the full launch when Verdansk hits, right?
yeah.
So I think it'll be like pretty good. Obviously, there's leaks and rumors and stuff, but I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, which I guess leading into that, that's the next kind of conversation at hand here, is thoughts on Verdansk. So there's a couple different things that I want to talk about here with Verdansk, right? And it's rumored mid-April coming with season 3. And more specifically, what are y'all's thoughts on this? I actually didn't expect this, and if it's true, I don't know. It's from Ghost of Hope, who that man knows
Pretty
everything.
accurate. Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty accurate with a lot of his stuff. He said Fringe, the map Fringe, for those of you who don't know, JD, if you want to pull it up, Fringe is coming to Verdansk, which I personally love Fringe. Do you guys think they should update Verdansk or leave it as is?
I'm kind of indifferent on this. I'm just curious.
Okay.
So I did see that if they're adding a different POI and they're changing Verdansk, my only concern is like whatever we get on drop, if it's a little too different, like if there's different POIs, there's different like buildings,
No, I mean,
Fringe
Fringe fits perfectly
like
into
that.
the game.
but where would
I
this
think it
go?
would.
Because
That
when you
would
put
go
this somewhere,
towards a farm or whatever. They had other towards the end of Verdansk. They already had the area over there. Remember, they rebuilt
Okay.
those buildings
Because it's a
They had
barn.
that
It's a
little-
barn.
They had that
yeah,
barn
there's definitely areas they
bunker.
could add stuff. I'm just afraid that like they're gonna change stuff. Like
That
let's
could be
say
that area between farm. I can't remember the name of it. Between farm and quarry, there was another area.
Right.
It had its own name. That far
that's
right
quick.
side. Somebody knows the
Lumber.
name of it. I can't remember it offhand.
Yeah, the far right, right? That thing
Yeah,
right
the
there?
far right. It had its own name, but it was like
Lumber?
basically this. Maybe it was called lumber. But basically that area, it would also fit perfectly. Like they wouldn't even
Yeah.
have to change that much.
No, I
Because
agree. I
that
think
area is
adding it is
basically
cool.
a copy. They have one of the quarry buildings with a bunch of lumber. Yeah, maybe it was lumber.
This is
whatever.
what we talked about
But-
with remember on Urzikstan, like Hadika Farms, like that whole right side of the area on Urzikstan is like so open, and I was like, bro, why don't they just throw an old POI in there or a multiplayer map? Because like
Yeah,
the whole
I
right
think
side of the
that's
map was
fine.
basically useless.
Especially because like if we made a list of our favorite 10 POIs,
Yeah,
no one's putting lumber on there.
No, for sure.
Like
But-
it's not even
I
coming up
agree.
in conversation. Like,
Yeah.
so I think that is it. Like, if they put it somewhere, like of a fan favorite one, that's bullshit. Like, I think
Yeah, they
that's
kicked this out for
trash.
Superstore and people are fucking
Yeah.
rioting,
I
right?
think adding it
But
is fine.
this-
I just think
I
maintaining
think it would be
originality is going
so
to be.
goated. I think
Yeah.
this would be fine in that area because this map is actually pretty chill, and they can modify the layouts. They probably got to change it a little bit, but the cars the way they are, those could be like the lumber one. There could be a buy station right behind this one on the left.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's fine. I don't think it's a big deal.
No, it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, bro, I'm very curious to see what they decide to do. Like, how much of Verdansk? Okay, if the rumor is that Fringe is being changed, then the question is out of the picture now whether we're getting exact 1-to-1 replica Verdansk and everything back then, right? So
Well, I don't
what
think I never
exactly
thought
will
we
change?
would. I never thought we 100% would. I felt like there would be make changes, but it was like how, right? Like what version of Verdansk would we get? The Nakatomi Tower, would that be a thing? Or maybe that's going to come in later with an update, maybe at the like mid-year before
Right.
we get Avalon or whatever. Would it be Summit or would it be Dam? I'm preferential towards Dam. I think Dam was a better area of the map. I think based off the campaign, it's more likely that we get something more towards the original.
Okay.
But I think this change is a really good one if it is specifically that area of the map, right? Maybe
Yeah,
somebody can
like
make
the
an
shitty
argument for
sites.
that bottom. There's also another area by Park that they have a building that's already set up like that, where it's a multi-story building that's set up
Yeah.
where you can kind of jump on. That one could also be another good location. Realistically, those are the only two that maybe stand out to me. Like where that you could just plug and play. But I think Lumber's the better fit.
Yeah, lumber up there. I'm curious to see if you're going to be able to go there and then rotate out of there and there still be people, right? But regardless, I'm actually kind of happy that they're updating it. Like, yes, like keeping what people love, but then tweaking what people don't really care about. For example, again, if they take off lumber or farmland or whatever, or maybe in between lumber and farmland and they update it with something that's really cool or maps that we all loved from back
Right.
in the day, like, I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. Now,
I
go
think
ahead.
because to add on to what you said, I think the edges of the map on Verdansk, from what I remember, were pretty weak. Like a lot of the edges were weak. So if they could kind of strengthen them up a little bit, because I know Caldera, they did a good job of making the edge of the maps really good.
So the other thing I'll add is it's genius if they're going to use a map like Fringe, because pretty much if you played Black Ops 3, you know that map, right? Like
Yeah.
you know the map. And I think it was
Right.
relatively a fan favorite. So realistically, if you're going to inject it, it has to be a fan favorite map. Like if they did firing range, I'd be like, cool. Like I don't give a fuck. I know what firing range
Right.
feels like. So like if they change a POI to another POI that I already know, then it doesn't really matter. Like it's fine.
yeah, like you could put firing range probably like somewhere towards military because it gives off that. Like technically, doesn't military have like a firing range in there too? Like
Yeah.
somewhere in there. Like
Yeah, they could modify it. But
Yeah.
so I think it's fine, but like logically that's the only place I would put it personally. Maybe there's another spot that I'm not like thinking of. But that's the spot where I would put Fringe if I was going to
Right,
put a POI. Lumber is easily one of the weakest POIs on the map.
Okay. Okay.
And,
All right,
and
yeah,
it fits into the layout right there, right?
So which version do you think we're gonna get? Like, right? Again, it's gonna be a new version from what we can see, right? With Fringe being rumored. Now, do you think it's
I
gonna
think it'll be
OG
basically the
Verdansk?
main. I think it'll be basically the OG base. Verdansk stadium's not open. I think it'll be Dam. I think that's the smarter way to go. Plus, based off the campaign, also the way stadium looked in the campaign. I think those are a lot of like clues. That's
Okay.
kind of like the vision. Prison will probably be very similar. It's the opening mission of the campaign. And I think a lot of those assets, it's like, oh, cool, we could reuse that area. So I think that works. I hope that they have the potential for bunkers to open up and stuff
Okay.
like that. But I don't think it'll be drastically different because like it's too hard to get it right. And I think with changing the one POI to Fringe, I think that works really well.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess like obviously the POIs that they shouldn't change are like, I guess chat. And this is a question for all of you guys. What POIs should they never touch? I mean, or just not touch in general. Like I'm thinking of Scrapyard. I'm thinking, or Boneyard. I'm thinking of Superstore. I'm thinking Storage Town. I personally don't care about airport. Let's see.
Farmland they could change too. Like from between farmland and prison is kind of like a dead area, but like it doesn't really matter. Like a lot of these were already maps that we had in Ground War or modifications of maps we've had in the game before. So I think it's fine. I think it'll work out. I think the fringe part is interesting though.
I'm looking at this and like I feel like there is kind of room to add different POIs. Like there's some stuff here that's pretty ass. Like
I hope they maintain originality and just kind of like build from there.
Keep it as close as possible.
Start as like original and then, you know, because people are going to get bored, then build off from there.
Right.
Like even Summit. Like, I mean, maybe there are people that love Summit. I don't know. You know,
I never liked Summit. I thought the Summit as a map is good, but I felt like the fact that it was like a valley or a canyon or whatever the hell you want under that bridge, it felt
giant bridges.
So annoying. Like, oh, cool. Let me take a gondola for 10 seconds to cross the street. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I personally hated airports, one of my most hated ones. So I wouldn't care if they changed that. Yeah, I hate
like the
airport,
roofs
bro.
and stuff. The hangars were cool. I liked hangars.
I always hated the rotations from hangars towards military across that little ice ravine or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Ice.
The little Dorito things.
Yeah. Okay. So now here is a question that I like. Do you guys think that water will return?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like going
But
forward.
I think it'll just be water that we're already used to. Like those are puddles, whatever. I think there's really only water on the edge of the map. So other than that,
like,
I don't.
Like J-God, could you see them filling that up with water? Kind of like what we have right now.
No, I think there's zero chance of that.
Okay.
Which I hope too. So I hope there's not too much water.
I hope it's just at the edges. Like, who cares if it's at the edge? Like, right? Like, who gives a fuck?
I think, like, if we could get dynamic maps, that'd be sick. Where like the dam overflows and then the water floods for a public event or something. Like that'd be cool. But I don't see that happening. They did that in Blackout, I believe, with the dam where it flooded the map. But
JD
realistically,
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. JD had said his theory is that the Summit Dam is gonna break, and it's gonna trickle all over the place and have water all over the fucking map.
Kind of like
maybe in the future. I don't see that at launch.
No.
Okay.
And I think if it was an
hope not.
event, it would be fine. But what would end up happening is the same overreaction that happened with Rebirth. Oh, they put a hole in the roof and all that. That would still happen. But then when it came out, everyone would just be quiet because it plays fine.
The only water the only water in Verdansk that I can think of is
in the
like
bottom.
The bottom near Port,
And
right?
it's out of bounds.
No, Port has like
water.
a little.
Yeah.
Port has a little thingy. I know Port does because there's like a ladder you can climb, and then under it is like water. And I remember
But
if
it's
you
just
fell
a
in it,
puddle.
you used to just die. No, there was a part in Port.
Really?
If you fell off into water, you would die initially.
I don't remember that.
I think it's right there in between Park and Port, that little dark spot.
Yeah.
Scroll all the way down, that little dark spot. There's like a railing or something, and if you fell into the water, you would just die. That's the only part I could see.
Oh,
like,
I remember
if it's
that.
the same,
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
that there's water, but other than that, I mean, I don't think there was any other water besides off the map. But they'll probably extend those boundaries, like bottom side of prison. They'll probably make the beach playable, like stuff like that.
I
Edge of the
fucking
map.
hate it. I hate it. Oh, I hate water so
I hate
much,
it.
bro.
Yeah.
I hate
But
water so
realistically,
much.
that's the edge of the map. It'll almost
That's kind of like the
never
Ashika,
get
you know,
used.
like Ashika Island. They made it so like on the beach you could go to the edge and swim
Yeah,
and do whatever.
yeah.
They'll probably do the same thing.
Like that's fine. That's fine. You know.
Urzikstan as well, like Levin Resort, you can swim on the beach. So
Dude. Okay, so somebody just brought up a good point, which actually is the next topic on our list here. It's, I guess we've asked this already, but like there probably is more people here than we did the last podcast. What's your guys' ideal version of Verdansk when it comes to like things that are coming back, right? So one, should floating loot come back? Obviously, I would say yes, right? Like,
Yeah.
But then something a little more, I think everybody can agree they all want floating loot back, right? But let's talk about something I think is a little bit more controversial. Should they bring back balloons? This has been super 50-50 from what I've asked chat. Like did balloons ruin the feel of BR? Right? Like, or should balloons be back to keep rotating and, you know, and go from there? Should they, like, should you have to?
I don't know. I'm mixed
flip?
on that too because I felt
am
like in
too.
Caldera, balloons were fine.
Okay.
When
I
they
just
first got
think-
introduced, I think they were executed well.
The reason that I've lost interest in balloons over the years is because the vehicles just dropped year after year. And the only way to rotate is literally balloons. So I think that's my problem. And I think buying balloons too is kind of corny. Like I think the randomness of portable balloons is just kind of, for me, I just don't like it. It's super random. Especially from a competitive standpoint. I think you'll shoot out balloons and you could play for like a spot, like a high ground, and then randomly you just get ballooned on and it's just not really competitive. So, but we'll take competitive out of this. Like for the casual, like pub lobbies, I think they're fine. I just think they need to be balanced, but they also need to add better vehicles back to the game. Like the vehicles need to be a way to get around the map.
That's the number one, I think. Yeah, vehicles
and
are the...
balloons should not be the only way to get around the map, my opinion.
I think, vehicles have been like that sore in the side since MW2 changed the formula. Like, I don't even know how people could play test that version and go, yeah, these feel good. Like, what the fuck? I don't know, bro. It's so
I think
bad.
stationary balloons are fine. It just depends on where they put them and stuff. Like I said, just getting ballooned
imagine
on
this.
is
There was a point where people had to shoot a rear tire so the car was drivable. Like, what the fuck?
I remember that actually.
Like,
Yo, you're actually cooking, bro.
Yes,
Dude,
bring these back, bro.
Here was like my thing, bro. Like, and I like, bro, somewhere along the lines, like BR no longer feels like BR, right? So is that because we had to go on foot? Is that because cars, like we had to focus on cars? Is that obviously a big part of it is because you couldn't buy back, right? But like, will having balloons ruin that feel of BR? Or is it just, it's a good way to travel around the map, right? I don't know. It's one of those things where I would have to test and play it with balloons and without balloons and then give my opinion, because
I think balloons... Sorry, this just came in my head. I just started talking before I let you finish. My bad. I think balloons should have like a limited amount of times you can hit it. So like, let's say they're gonna leave portable balloons in the game. If you throw it down, like you can hit it 4 times. Because I think the problem is right now is like people are like hitting balloon, flying, and they're like, I don't see anybody in there to fly. So like, I think that the like skill of like rotating in a BR is just like you pick a POI and you have to commit to that. Whereas balloons right now, you can kind of just float, come back, float, come back. Like you can kind of just. It's just like kind of cheese. I don't know. Like that's why I think the pacing of it is too quick, because it doesn't really like allow people to like think about where they're going. They kind of just like balloon and then have to come back. But
I highly disagree. I highly disagree on that, but that's okay, right? Like, I mean, there might be a different way to. I don't even know. Like, I feel like when it launches, there should be no balloons. See how it plays out.
I agree with that.
I agree with that.
Maybe have an LTM.
They need to cook with the vehicles. I'd rather the vehicles be on the edge of broken than be on the edge of like useless.
Vehicles should be the number one. Like balloons and everything should just be extra. Like, hey, we're gonna make a play, or I don't know, or like, hey, there's a balloon, let's go hit it. It should always, your first like reaction should always be like, hey, let's go grab that car.
Yeah. Like, we got to plan rotation. How we're gonna do this, right? Like, get the car, right? So I'm very like. They have the opportunity to make Warzone fun again. I just fear that somewhere along this line that it's not like it's not going to be fun. I understand. I guess for me, like I'm a realist when it comes to like. No, I know it's not going to be.
I'm more optimistic about Verdansk than I think that.
Okay. Like I know I don't expect this to be as hype as Verdansk originally, bro. COVID, all that shit. I get it, but like
it's hard to explain because obvious reasons. But like I feel like it's gonna be fine.
I love J-Gun, bro. I love J-Gun. Okay, cool. Yeah, man. I mean, I guess so. Like, so another, I guess, not balloons, more zip lines, right? Should buildings have zip lines?
I think especially the big ass buildings.
I think, no balloons. But zip lines is fine.
What about horizontal zip lines?
I don't think there's a lot of areas where they're even practical.
Downtown. Probably
for like
only
a
place,
couple buildings. There's only a couple buildings.
No, I'm just asking. Sense. Like, what do you like? What do you guys think?
Like, I don't even think it matters. If they have them, cool. If they don't, cool. Because the viability of locations where they actually have a horizontal zip that actually makes sense on the map, entirety of the entire map, is so minuscule.
Right.
Hey, I'll say this. One thing I pray and I hope and I beg that is in the game when it launches, bro. 150 players. Bro.
Yeah.
This 120, 100 BS that we've had, That might be why this shit don't feel like, shit's crazy, right? 150 players having to be better than 149 people.
Part of that is also the it's easier to win with the less players there are, just mathematically.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Because like if there's 40 players or 40 teams or whatever, or how many teams? What is it? Quads? What do you get? 35 teams or some shit? I don't know. How the math works out. No, like 30 teams versus if it has only 120, then it's like a 1 in 30 chance or something like that.
Yep.
But yeah, that was such a short LTM. I think it only lasted a week or two. Yeah.
That shit was so fire though, bro. This actually made it so chaotic. But again, this is definitely catering towards like the quote unquote sweats, that people that love this type of shit. But that shit was so fun. I know for a fact the casuals fucking hated this shit. Because like if they couldn't win with 150, you add 50 more players, they're definitely not winning one of these, right? So I understand why they didn't bring it back. But bro, 200 players was so damn fucking fun, man. I hope
I felt like what was more fun was that than the buyback. Whatchamacallit? The where you have 4K.
Yeah. Buyback quads?
Yeah, it's called buyback.
That was definitely more fun. Because you could play like aggressive and then end game. And that one like unironically felt like a rebirth game because literally you just had the money. So it was like big map rebirth. So and that was pretty popular then too. So there is definitely different niches, right?
So here's another one that I see in the chat, and it is in our notes. Shooting out of the sky. And I think this one's kind of split down the middle, maybe a little bit. Do you guys think it should return or it shouldn't? Because shooting out of the air is good for people that play the game a lot, right?
I'm so split on this. Like the thing I always
see both sides.
I see both sides, but the thing I always reverse back to is that I think it shrinks the map when you allow players to shoot in the air. Again, it's more of a competitive thing. So I guess I'll just talk about the casual. I think the casual side, public side, it's fine. I think it's fun for streamers, players to kind of go in the air and shoot. From a competitive standpoint, I think it shrinks the map because people now can't stretch for POIs. So I think it's bad for competitive. For a public standpoint, I think it's fine. I don't think you should be able to shoot an AR or a sub or a sniper or anything like that. Yeah, you should not be able to have... you should not be able to have an SMG in the air, in my opinion. Or an AR. I think pistol's fine. If they could do it where it was kind of like when you're in the water... If you're ever in the air, you pull out your pistol. That would be cool. But
opening drop even. Yeah, or pistol. Like it just swaps to a pistol. But then you get these other issues that I don't even think they could just say, hey, you know what? Opening drop, you get spawn protection slightly. Where like you could still kill somebody, but you better be hitting your shots. Maybe you got a team shoot, Like
and
so
also,
that it could still happen, but realistically, if somebody just pulled the shoot immediately, they could glide all the way and they ain't gonna get killed.
Maybe no aim assist too, like in the air. Like that'd be cool.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, come on, Evich. They would never do that. Come on, man.
Hey, Huskers and them would still be fine then, right? You're just trying to.
It's
get
more for the
them,
sweat,
right?
so I feel like if the sweaty players are doing it, just turn off aim assist.
Yo, imagine like somebody
crazy.
Just casual pulls their shoe and just what I'm saying, they're just shooting zigzags, bro. All right, okay. So now let's talk about guns specifically, fellas. When it comes to metas going into Verdansk, do you guys think that they will bring back fan favorite guns, or is this something that, like, again, I want to see the Kilo come back. I want to see the Grau come back.
The only guns that now that I've thought about this more, we've had conversations on it. I think realistically, the only guns that will come back this year, meaning up until the new game release, is Cold War guns that were popular.
Okay.
Because
why do you say
Treyarch made those guns. So realistically, usually the studios stick to their own guns. Maybe not the licensing part of it. Maybe so. But realistically, the studios make their own guns, right? So every MIW game has this gun. Right. And Treyarch games have these other guns. So realistically, I think it's very plausible that if it was a Year 2 Verdansk 84, whatever, meta gun, those can be guns that they bring back. OTS could definitely be one of those guns. The MAC-10, DMR even though I don't think they'll ever do that again. But pretty much any of those guns that they had, they could easily, in my opinion, slot in because it would make sense for Treyarch as well to them have like an agreed upon, we're going to drop these guns that are nostalgic, were slotted for season 3. So the guns that drop will also be guns that were meta back in
Oh, the
Verdansk
EM2, bro.
84. So
Right.
I think that's the smart thing. Hopefully, like there's a lot of smart people working there that are doing that, but that'd be the smart thing in my opinion.
Who made the AMAX?
That was Modern Warfare.
AMAX is MW. So that wouldn't come
I don't
back.
know if you guys. I feel like it is only because have you guys seen the way the AEK looks like in the game?
Yeah,
It literally looks exactly like an AMAX.
that's
exactly
because I think it's built off a similar body type, like in real gun
right.
stuff.
Dude,
My-
like, I feel like that's a perfect opportunity for that. Like, come out with some type of I don't know attachment that makes
And
it
although
auto and just.
I
like,
agree
you know,
with your initial statement, like, oh, the kilo would be so fire, the growl, like, it doesn't make sense. Like,
Okay.
because Treyarch is like whatever guns we get are going to be Treyarch guns.
I mean, I hope they do. I feel like they'd be selling the bag if they didn't.
Beautiful.
Yep, that would be fire.
Beautiful.
Ooh,
My only thing is,
EM2?
we've kind of seen this in the past, dude. I hope they don't just bring it back as blueprints, because like what we got the STG blueprint on like a couple or a gun this year. I forgot what gun it was.
No, I think it would be season 3 launch. These would be
Hopefully
DLC
they're
weapons,
like
and
their
we'd
own
get the
weapons.
weapons.
Yeah, not blueprints, not hidden behind some kind of, you know.
I don't know if they would actually do that. I'm beyond. I hope that they
The
realize
Swiss,
like
that could be a banger.
Yeah.
I just hope that they realize how important. I mean, if they're bringing back Verdansk, they understand that nostalgia it matters, right? So I really, really hope that they can see like, hey, some of these fan favorite guns, maybe they have people trying to make them. I don't
And
fucking
these
know.
would have been
No?
these decisions would have been made months and months and months and months ago.
Yeah, a long time
Because they
ago.
already know
Right.
all the DLC weapons they're making basically for the rest of the year. They would just had the foresight to go, you know what? Well, we're gonna drop Verdansk around this time. We should probably include some Verdansk type meta Cold War
Guns.
weapons.
Yeah,
like that would just
258?
be like I don't know if that's just like 200 IQ or that's just common sense, but hopefully it makes it.
Yeah, I don't know what's the deal with the names if they have to do like different names because of copyright issues or whatever. But
It doesn't even matter what the name is. Everyone will call it what it is.
they're selling the bag. They're
wanna
selling the
do
bag if they
it.
don't.
Yeah. I think they, Jay God, we talked about this before, right? They don't want to use the same names because it's like in case of like somebody used that gun in like a tragical event, like in real life, then they would compare it to Call of Duty, basically.
Well,
I
yeah,
forgot there
those
was like an
types of
article or
things
something
happen.
like
Yeah.
that.
Right.
It was like an article or something like that.
I think
you
that's
were-
part of it, but then there's also you got to pay for the rights. For certain manufacturers, they own the intellectual property of the weapon, right? Like so they'd have to pay for certain rights, which
Okay.
they don't need to, so they don't have to, right? Just save money, right?
Yeah. So look, man, I think we've went over everything that we needed to cover today. But before we do conclude, I want to talk about the whole Aiden leaving Warzone situation, and not just him, but what that means for a bunch of other creators, right? And like this, you know, I'm curious, you know, if this update, the one that we just went over, the huge long thing, right? If they actually do pull it off, and it's exactly the way they say it, it's exactly the way they say it is, right? Do you think people like Aiden will come back? Because I don't. Aiden, who's already like technically he's in the scene, right? Will come back. I don't think people like Tim, Nick, all these guys will come back into Verdansk. Like
Realistically, the streamers always follow the viewership, right?
right? True.
Realistically, so it doesn't matter anything if the viewership is good on Warzone, they will be streaming it.
Yeah.
They follow the viewers. If Rival had like no fucking viewers, but the game was amazing, how many of them would be on Rivals?
True. No, you're not wrong.
That's literally every game. No matter what. If Rust all of a sudden had like a resurgence and Rust the game, all of a sudden, if you just popped up a Rust stream, you've never played Rust, Hector, I'm guessing. But let's say Rust popped up and all of a sudden you'd be at 5,000 viewers. You are a Rust streamer going forward. Like that's probably what's going to happen. Like if that were a reality, like that's probably what would happen. And then hopefully you enjoy the game, right? And that's a lot of streamers. Luckily in Aiden's case, he's been doing this long enough where he's probably a multi-bajillionaire, and like he can make this decision and it does impact him, but it's like he doesn't have to sweat it. And realistically, him stepping away from the game, it really has no impact, sadly, in my opinion. Because like it doesn't like streamers are a dime a dozen. Like,
Right.
obviously it brings
Like-
viewership and all that. Like, but streamers are a dime a dozen. There's going to be so many people that are still streaming COD, and that's because a lot of people don't have alternatives. Like for me, I've gone and I've only uploaded 3 videos in like 37 days or something like that. That's perfectly fine. Would I have made more money posting every single day? Sure. And just like streaming, there's a lot of people who jump to other games, but they can't afford to. I think there's so many people that realistically can't make that stance. Like, cool, yeah, stop uploading bundles. Well, some streamers making $100 a video. You're asking them to turn down that just cuz, and you're not going to supplement their bills. So realistically, unless it was like a mass exodus of like everyone just totally leaving, it doesn't really do anything, because streamers make up such a small percentage of the community anyways. And when you leave, it's going to be a vacuum where other people take that viewership because they decided to stream.
Yeah, true. Like,
and that's
if somebody
always how it goes.
I mean, bro, Diaz was so happy that Aiden decided to take a step back, because, you know, when Aiden is on and Diaz is on at the same time, he's like, oh, here we go, it's gonna be a bad day. But as soon as Aiden's off, he's like, ooh, like, he's like, we're doing 10-hour stream type shit, you know?
And
so,
you've
like,
seen this yourself, I'm sure, from streaming, where like you've witnessed the numbers and you've seen people where some people, well, there's obviously the botting views issues that people have too. That's a whole other issue. But there's a vacuum that's created. Like, those viewers get in a habit of watching content, and as soon as that content is gone and they got to watch somebody else, they just switch to the other person and develop a habit of watching that person. And you've seen the ebbs and flows. If you ever take a break from streaming, literally, if you had 500, you come back, it'll be 200. You're like, where the fuck did 300 people go? Well, they're still there. They're just watching other people. And realistically, it hurts Aiden probably more than Call of Duty for him to take a break from COD.
Yeah. Which sucks, which does suck. Like, I've said this before, like, dude, do I fucking commend Aiden for doing that? Fuck yeah, I do. Right? Like, sadly, in the last 5 years of however long I've been doing this, it sucks, because I thought, like, us players that, you know, voice our concerns, and I know it sounds crazy, right? But like, I thought we actually could make a difference. But in all actuality, like, I just being blunt, if I stopped streaming tomorrow, no one would really care. Like, the higher ups at Activision,
they're gonna keep going.
Yeah, like, it's not gonna matter, right? Like, and so, like, dude, I feel for Aiden, because the game's fucking in such a horrible state right now, and
But you know what? You were on the game 11 hours yesterday.
yeah. No, but that's the thing. It's like, bro, and especially what you just said, J God. It's like, bro, at the end of the day, some people can't do that, bro. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I cannot afford to not play or stream anymore.
And I'll tack on to that too.
I got
and some
family to
people
take
have
care
even
of.
harder issues, where, like you said, the family part of it, but like there's also people with teams. Like,
True.
Like, you can't make $0 and still pay JD or whoever else is working to edit videos or thumbnails or whoever. And so it's almost like if you were smaller, then you could walk away from it because you're only impacting you. But now that you have a team, it's like you impact these other people. So it's not just your family, it's other people's families. And it's like, it's not a big enough difference where you can go, oh, you know what? Let me just switch to Rivals, get 200 viewers, and then now I can't pay the people, and we can't even upload anything because no one fucking cares about Rivals on my channel. You know, like,
J God gets it. J God fucking gets it. I was talking to JD, hit me up the other day. He goes, Pops, he's like, do I still got a job? I was like, JD, hey, bro, we gonna get through this shit together, twin. We gonna get through this shit together, bro. No, but like, bro, like, in my opinion, the thing that actually will make the most impact on Activision's wallet, sadly, we don't got one right now, right? But is direct competition with Call of Duty. That is my opinion. If you guys don't agree with it, I completely understand. My opinion is the only thing that will actively make Activision make big monumental changes and make them actively change the way they do things and care about their community is if they have a competitor. And right now, they don't. They don't have a single competitor right now. Marvel,
well, and realistically,
Rivals
even
ain't a
when they
competitor,
do, they don't.
you know?
Yeah, even when they do, they don't.
Like, the only time they actually had somewhat of a competitor was back Battlefield. What was it? Battlefield 4? Like, that was probably the only time. And then obviously I would assume Fortnite at the time, I wouldn't say now, but at the time, like Fortnite was fucking insane. But that's a niche. People think that Fortnite is for kids, and a lot of people
So
play that,
right now, like
right?
for example, they said, "Oh, Marvel Rivals has 5 times the viewers than COD right now," but they don't care about viewers. They only care about player counts.
about player
And
count,
from
right.
what I understand, their player counts are perfectly fine, despite what Steam says.
Yeah. From what the whispers are, you know what I'm saying? From what the whispers
Their
are.
numbers are perfectly fine, and they are making tons of fucking money, and the game is doing okay.
That makes me sad, bro. It makes me sad because it's like the only ones really being affected are the 1%, which is us. The people, again, my opinion, if you are on Call of Duty YouTube, if you are on Call of Duty Twitter, if you're on Call of Duty Twitch, in my opinion, you are no longer a casual, because I do not think casualness is defined by skill. It's not defined by that. It's defined in how much
Engagement.
actively you're part of. Yeah, how
Right.
much you're part of the community. Because the casual audience doesn't know who the fuck Tim the Tatman is, or Scump, or they just play the game when they have free time, right? And they'll keep playing because it's just routine for them, right? But now hear me out. If, let's say, Battlefield, the rumors are Battlefield's coming out with a BR, right? If Battlefield BR comes out and it's actually good, right? We know they've had a lot of misses recently in the last years, but imagine they come out with a BR that's actually good. Now that is a direct competitor against Warzone and Call of Duty. Like, actually, like, if it's good, right? That's a big if, right? That will get people to stop playing Call of Duty just the way it did back in the day, right? Will their player count still be healthy? Yes. But if you're thinking about what would hurt their pockets the most, it's a rival. It's a rival, some type of competitor to go
But
against
not
them.
rivals.
Bro. I don't know if it knocks their battle. Look, call me crazy, but I'm really hoping Battlefield knocks their battle royale out of the park this year. We need a Warzone competitor for those who still enjoy this style BR. I agree wholeheartedly with Lucci.
I'm a little bit of a pessimist when it comes to Battlefield. It doesn't appeal to the regular COD audience, so I think it has virtually no impact, because they're completely different games catered towards completely different audiences. Even though they are militaristic and whatever, there's reasons why people play COD and there's reasons why people play Battlefield, and they're not the same reasons. So even regardless of what Battlefield makes as a battle royale, they will appeal to PUBG players and other people that are battle royale purists. COD didn't blow up on Warzone for being a battle royale purist. It didn't. Even though it had battle royale elements and all these other things, people that play COD wanted to play like COD, and Battlefield will never play like COD. And people that enjoy Battlefield will want to play it because it's like Battlefield, and they'll never play COD. They just do not like it. They might try it, but
I'm curious to see.
Realistically, they're different demographics.
Yeah. What
Even
about
though there's
this,
overlap.
though? We've seen that Battlefield has been not the greatest the last 2, 3, 4 years, whatever. When's the last time Battlefield 4 came out? Whatever it's called, right? If they come out with this BR that's rumored, but they actively are coming at it with the sense of like, yo, we are going to try to be more like COD in that style.
They're going to
Like,
piss
could
off
they-
their
could they?
target demo, their normal demographic.
But they're already pissed off. Like,
No,
their
but you know
numbers
what I
are
mean? Like-
bad.
Those people stay around. They'll stay around and they'll be excited for another Battlefield game to come out again.
That's what I'm saying, right? So like,
There are,
who
but I don't
could
think
actually be a competitor to Warzone is what I'm trying to say. If
don't
not
think
Battlefield, then
anybody.
who?
I don't think
Nobody.
anybody. But there
Then
are
we're never going to break
floaters,
the
like-
cycle.
Like there are people who go and play different games. Like I have IRL buddies right now who are trying out Marvel Rivals. They've always played COD or whatever. So there are floaters who will go play different games. Like I know they were playing Fortnite for a bit. But yeah, like kind of like what Jago was saying, the people that stay on those games like Battlefield, I know like obviously like Valorant, CS:GO, Dota. I know Dota versus League is like a huge thing. Like Dota players don't go play League. League of Legends players don't go play Dota, even though they're very similar
2K
games.
players, Madden
Yeah.
players,
They'll
now
always stick to
NCAA.
But yeah, they'll always stick to their game, and then there's always floaters.
Everything we're gonna start producing everything by algorithm. Yeah, I look again. Like in my opinion, the only thing that would actually rival Warzone is some type of other competitor. I don't believe
I think-
Fortnite is that.
I
don't
think
believe
also
Marvel Rivals
part
is
of
that.
it is COD has a specific sauce and flavor to it that even though the game's fucked up, there's still things that appeal to a specific like demographic that you cannot get in other games. X Defiant tried and they failed miserably. obviously people are going to defend that game and whatever, but it was missing the sauce. You could jump on that game. It didn't have the sauce, the COD sauce, whatever it is.
It's
SPMM
whatever
ruins COD for a lot of things, but that's just like burnt seasoning on the seasoning, you know? And people are still going to eat the same meal because they know what they're getting with COD, and other games just do not have that sauce.
And that has a big part to do with whatever engine they're running, whatever makes COD, whatever makes their Parasite did a discussion on this, or did a comparison. It was like the way you aim on COD and the way it feels and the way that the arcadiness, he said X Defiant doesn't have that. X Defiant doesn't have that. It is arcadey, but there's some fucking juice that Warzone,
it's like
Call
the
of Duty
secret
have.
sauce.
The secret sauce that Call of Duty has that no other multiplayer, Warzone, whatever, has, other VR, whatever, because it's Call of Duty sauce, right? And so, like, he made a whole rant on it, or he did a whole discussion on it. That's what X Defiant is missing. And then, sure enough, sadly, it died. Right?
And to add to that too, there's other games that have their own sauces that make them unique to themselves. I would say Destiny is another game where their game mechanics, like in terms of their gunplay, is really good, but it feels nothing like COD, but they have their own sauce on that particular aspect that other games can't replicate, right? Like there's a specific like formula that these things work a certain way. And even if people try to mimic it, it never comes to like 100% the same.
Yeah, I agree. Like whatever makes COD is why it's thriving. And so I hope one day like there can be something that rivals it. You know, sauce equals legal aimbot. Aiden, you ain't wrong, Twinny. You ain't wrong, bro. You ain't wrong, man. Okay.
Yeah, that's their sauce for sure, bro.
Literally.
They casualized so many people.
Max aim assist. We've said it
thing
before,
is,
man.
like,
Aim assist is
the
broken.
previous CODs, man, didn't have strong aim assists, and those always did great. Like the OG CODs did not have crazy aim assists until like what, Modern Warfare 2019, I think was when Dynamic was, and I don't think it's dramatically improved the state of the game. So I really do hope that aim assist in general gets addressed in the future, because it really does kill, I don't know, maybe a lot of the satisfaction, at least for me, about getting a kill and just kind of getting that like satisfactory just of like, oh, I actually like earned that kill. There's like skill gap, you have to like actually get better, but I don't know, maybe that's just,
I don't think that's the component that matters on COD.
We live in a world where that stuff like that, sadly, Ebates, you're in the minority. Like,
yeah, no.
And I've come to the realization that just like the whole skill gap, the whole shit, like that is very much a minority. Most people do not want to work to get better at things. They want to get on and just, am I getting the dopamine? Yes or no? And get off, right? Like that is why aim assist is so broken, because they want everybody to have a chance to get kills. That is why the game is catered towards, casuals. Like sadly, it sucks. And trust me, I'm in the same boat. I'm like, yeah. I want to, if I'm worse, I want to get fucking slammed, right? I want to get fucking slammed. But if I'm better, I want to slam them. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just the way. That's just the cycle. But yeah, man. Anyways, man, boys, I think that kind of wraps up today's podcast and just going over everything and I don't know, man. I hope that Verdansk is good. Will it save Warzone? I don't fucking know. It will bring back a lot of people. I think that's nostalgia, always will. It doesn't matter. But if it comes back with all these players returning, and if it's not good enough, it's GG's. But yeah, final thoughts, fellas. Final thoughts.
We saw some good things in those patch notes. I will say though that there's a lot of things that I still hope to come. I don't know how long until they actually integrate that stuff. I know they didn't touch on shadow bans. Huge issue again going on. Probably the 1%ers, 2%ers, but still.
Well,
an issue.
They did talk about it, but it's not going to happen until season 3. They said they'll be able to distinguish between legit players and cheaters. That's basically the extent of that. Because the shadow ban system is essentially supposed to do that. It's supposed to work in that way. So if they're if they're implementing a new system, that means the other systems should be gone.
Yeah, I think manually though, like I think there needs to be some kind of manual way to check people, like at least for right now, because like people that are getting shadow banned are probably like what, top 1%, 2% of people. I feel like 90% of the player base probably isn't getting shadow banned. I know that might sound surprising, but I feel like genuinely
probably even higher than that.
Yeah, it's probably like 95% of people. So I don't know.
It's funny to talk on the Verdansk thing. Someone says, "Well, it's nostalgia for Verdansk." I'm like, bro, they brought Rebirth back, and how's the nostalgia on Rebirth been? It's still going, right? Like,
yeah,
it's not just nostalgia, bro. It is what it is. You may get tired of it, but sorry, you're not who the map was for.
Yeah.
I'll
Dude, there was a
be honest. I
couple other
fucking
things.
rebirth this.
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
bring it up
there was
now.
a couple other things I wanted to talk about that like I just feel like that was kind of missing from that blog, but maybe we'll have to come back to it. I mean, it'd be cool to see bunny hopping. Obviously, I don't know how that's gonna go. Hopefully they make it where it's pretty smooth and you can like slide out of it or something. I feel like the Omni movement right now in general just isn't really like utilized to the max potential. So hopefully they continue to do updates that kind of open up more like more free movement, I guess, with Omni movement, because it's a really good mechanic, but it just kind of was implemented poorly. But yeah, on that I'm super excited. Like I said, there's still a lot of things they got to work on. So
Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, from what we saw, kind of recap of everything, quote unquote, coming season 2. Again, how it's implemented. The best analogy I like is the oven is on preheat right now. Now, whether the food comes out burnt or not, we'll find out when season 2 drops, mid-season, whatever. But for those of y'all that missed it, it was it pretty much apparent from the way they described it, right? Bunny hopping is back. Updates to anti-cheat. I don't really trust all that.
Well, a
bunny
version of
hopping-
bunny hopping, because
Right.
it doesn't have the continuous momentum. It'll be allowed for 1. And it's funny that they specified 1, because like 2 years ago when we were talking about it, it'd be nice to be able to do at least 1. So I don't know if like that's like intentional like overlap or it's just coincidence, but yeah.
Yeah. And then so they added default perks, dexterity as a default perk. What else? They
dexterity.
added they buffed dexterity and then added it as a default perk. They made reload speeds faster across all weapons, anywhere from 5 to 20%. They reduced the penalty from sprint to fire jumping from 35% to 10%. Increased jump ADS speeds by 25%. Weapon swap speeds, I think I went over that. Removed all burst and semi-automatic rifle guns from the floor. Increased, so this is the bunny hop thing. Increased both jump speed and successive jump height with 1 unmodified successive jump. Again, I don't, that's the verbiage, chat. However you define this, let me know. Increased both jump speed and successive jump height with 1 unmodified successive jump. That sounds like a bunny hop. I think it's just 1. I think it's just 1 bunny hop. I saw what Aiden tweeted out. You see what Aiden said, if I can do 1 bunny hop, I'll suck off the CEO. Heard that. Heard that, bro. Then they reverted back the parachute cut animation from being too slow. Audio improvements, I have to hear it to believe it. Combat Scout is now not visible throughout walls. Mountaineer is now a perk again. Veteran is now affects gas grenades as well. And then a couple other things, but those are pretty much the big ones. So yeah, chat, those are the changes that are coming in season 2 and mid-season. I don't know which ones are which, but I'm assuming, wait, boys, if it comes out in a week and a half, right? That means we'll probably get patch notes next week.
yeah, sorry, yeah, I think so.
No, patch
I'm
notes
pretty
won't be
sure.
until the day of. Blog
Oh, the
and
day
roadmap
before.
will be,
The
yeah.
day before, no?
Oh, blog.
Yeah,
Day
blog,
before
blog, blog.
now,
yeah,
day
yeah.
before now. But yeah, we'll get blog or roadmap, yeah.
And then they did address a lot of bugs, which obviously, guys, it's on Twitter if you guys want to see it. Aiden, technically, yes. So here, let me go back before we animate. Aiden, this is what they said. Basically, okay, here. Let me scroll back up. So it was like a 2-in-1 part. JD, if you want to bring it up, you can. In multiplayer, they said that, let me see, where is it where they talk about the changes to, further reduced weapon motion when jumping, sliding, and diving with the dexterity perk equipped. So whatever dexterity is now, they pretty much reduced the weapon motion when jumping, sliding, and diving while you have dexterity on that. And so because you have now dexterity as a default perk, that is now default in Warzone. It's right where it has the multiplayer tab, JD. That's a little bit lower. So technically, I'd assume that means yes, that they're right there, a little bit down. Right there, boom. Further reducing weapon motions when jumping, sliding, and diving with the dexterity perk equipped. Then, because they did that, they also made dexterity perk a default perk, which means we're getting that. Whatever changes they made to dexterity, we're getting that in Warzone for free. So yes, I think they did. I'm curious to see a lot of their verbiage and how a lot of these stuff actually feel. It does seem like they introduced a little bit of bunny hopping and a couple other things. But before we get too excited, let's wait and see how it actually feels in 2 weeks from now or whatever. Yeah, I think it's a week and a half from now. So yeah, chat. But boys, W fucking podcast. There's a lot of shit on my face, but there's like a small little beacon of hope, and maybe I'm snipping that copium, right? That hopium, and I'm hoping I can wipe the shit off everywhere, and we can maybe have a clean tunnel here. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, boys, appreciate y'all for the pod as always, man. We'll see what happens in a week from now, and hopefully we get a little bit of a roadmap and maybe a little bit more info on this. But glad to see some type of communication. Let's just see how things actually feel whenever it comes out, bro. Nukes, I've not heard anything about nukes. Bro. But anyways, boys,
likely that's going to be shelved for a while because of the content being pushed out.
Yeah, I don't think they would. If it's not in the season 2 notes right now, it's probably going to be sometime
Probably
along Verdansk.
Second season Verdansk, I'm assuming.
Somewhere along the lines. I hope it comes back because fuck, like nukes were actually fire. But anyways, boys, J-God, Ebates, I appreciate y'all as always, man. Everybody in the chat and Twitch, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you're watching this, man. We appreciate you all coming along with the ride for us, man. Thank you guys, and we'll catch you guys in the next one, baby. Peace, peace, peace.